Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for today's show. Fellow Reds, it's been 24 hours since we got the news that Zubimendi has rejected a move to Liverpool. Can't lie, it still hurts, but at the same time, it's no huge surprise to me, especially the way our club conducts business, which I'll touch on later on in the show. So today, I'm going on a bit of a rant. So if you'd like to express yourself and have your say, I have pinned a link in the chat. So feel free to get involved. I'll try and bring you on screen later in the show. Now, in terms of the deal, I was never confident of the deal being completed. I've probably got PTSD from the Caicedo and Lavia deal, so I couldn't really show much chest when the rumor broke. I know a lot of our fan base were ecstatic about us potentially signing Zubimendi. A lot of content creators were making up songs and doing all sorts, which looks terrible when you look back at it. But how can you be confident when your club is trying to negotiate a deal for a player that has a release clause? Now, make that make sense. Everyone knows when you have a release clause, all you do is match the offer that is in the contract, and that gives you the license or the ability to speak to the player, and you can agree terms, and then the deal is completed. Now, even before you match the release clause, it's probably something clubs shouldn't be doing unofficially, but clubs already having discussions with agents and players, so they would have got an inkling that the player has some sort of interest in moving to the club. But in this regards, I'm not sure if that was the case. Um, the release clause was 51 million. Now, in this day and age, that is not a lot of money. You've got Onana being signed for 50 million from Everton to Villa. He's not the same type of player, in my opinion, not the same caliber, I should say. And it's very frustrating in terms of how the club tried to conduct this deal. Last year we signed Szoboszlai through a release clause, but I think we felt the pressure due to the fact that there was a deadline. So if we hadn't matched it, then we would have had to pay, I think, 20 million on top. Whereas for Zubimendi, 51 million, and that is the offer, and you've got to do your groundwork in order to prize the player away from his boyhood club. Now, fans were getting very excited um, about the rumor linking Zubimendi to the club and suggesting that we've still got the pull because it's quite obvious in terms of what's happened in the past. That Zubimendi has rejected moves. He's rejected moves to Barcelona. He's rejected moves to Bayern Munich, and he's also rejected moves to Arsenal. So I'm going to say something which might be a bit controversial, but I think as a fan base, we need to relax when it comes to that whole sort of pull talk. Might not want to hear this, but I think Jurgen Klopp was a massive pull in recruiting players. As big of a club as we are, I think the coach / manager has a big part to play in terms of signing players. The sporting directors and CEO of football, they can do whatever discussions they want with players. In the end, they want to know who the coach is and what he's got to say about the player. The player needs to feel wanted by the coach. They want to be brought into the project and be a central part of that project. So that's a key area there. And as fantastic as our preseason has been, we've played some decent football under Arne Slot. He doesn't have that pull now, unfortunately. Now, think of you being a professional player. Yes, if Liverpool showing you interest, you're going to say Liverpool's such a big club. But Arne Slot, I don't know too much about him. He was a fine manager, had some decent success there. But is that enough to make me move over to Liverpool? At this stage, I can't say it is. Maybe in a year or so where, maybe the club's been a bit more successful, then it gives a bit of credentials to his coaching ability. And just look at our previous coaches in the past, like Brendan Rodgers. When he first joined the club, he didn't really have any pull. and we missed out on a number of targets during his time. So why did we think he'll come running to Liverpool? As a fan base, we need to be realistic sometimes. And right now, as you can imagine, the fan base is going through it right now. Some were shameless, so obviously they're hearing it from rival fans. Some fans are frustrated and they've already started saying FSG out. And, you know, I've said comments in the past about FSG where sometimes I feel like they lack ambition and they don't really invest enough, especially for a big club like Liverpool. And we're one of the richest clubs in world football. So we should be able to match a release clause like a 51 million deal for Zubimendi. But in this scenario, it's actually not FSG's fault. The finger has to be pointed at Richard Hughes. I also put in Michael Edwards in the mix as well. They have both been employed to negotiate player deals, whether it's extensions or signing new players. So for a club that normally moves in silence when we conduct transfer deals, why were we so loud about getting a player who, quite frankly, doesn't want to leave his boyhood club? It's been in the news. It's been in the past. We've known that he's not a player that wants to leave Real Sociedad. That is his boyhood club. He's rejected Barcelona. He's rejected Bayern Munich. He's rejected Arsenal. So for me, I put the finger at Richard Hughes. He put all his eggs in one basket, and now he's got egg in his face. Absolute joke. And for me, what's he doing right now? We're the only club that have not signed a player in the Premier League. Our opponents this weekend, Ipswich Town, they're doing business. We're not. I have to be honest, guys. I'm very concerned about the season ahead. It might be a slight overreaction just because we've missed out on a player, but that's how I feel right now. If you look at our squad, Endo isn't favoured by Arne Slot, and he doesn't fit that technical approach of our new play. Bajcic looks like he could be heading out on loan. Tyler Morton's future is uncertain at the club, and right now in that sort of defensive midfield or number 6 or midfield, however you want to phrase it, we are weak in that department. Now, the number 6 role has been a priority for a number of years, as well as other positions, but today we'll just focus on midfield. So for me, Richard Hughes has fumbled the bag. And what do we do now? Look at this tweet from David Ornstein. I'll read it out loud if you're listening. Martin Zubimendi decides to stay at Real Sociedad despite Liverpool pursuit and Sociedad initially anticipating move to be accepted. 25-year-old convinced to remain. Richard Hughes told Today. Now, this is the part that worries me. At present, LFC not expecting to sign alternative number 6. Personally, call me optimistic on this one. I'm not buying that. There's no way we target one player, and because we missed out on him, we pack our bags and go home. It can't be Zubimendi or nothing. That makes no sense to me. But at the same time, it's FSG. It's Michael Edwards. You can't rule it out. It could be the case because they used all these data analytics to find the one. And if he's not the one, then we move on. We're trying to find the other one in the future. That's not the way to go. I personally think this has been communicated to make it seem like we're not targeting anyone anymore and we're trying to get deals done behind the scenes. Now, I'm being optimistic. I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be positive. It has to be the case, and I won't accept anything else. If we don't sign a single player in this window, write the season off. We're not challenging anything, whether it's domestic trophies or a cup run in the Champions League. It's not happening. We don't have the strength in depth. We've weakened the squad by releasing the likes of Matip and Thiago. And I think there's no way we can go toe-to-toe against the likes of City and Arsenal, who have strengthened their squad this window, and they will do so with the remaining weeks. So to keep me sane right now, I'm going to assume that Hughes is trying to get deals done behind the scenes, and hopefully we'll hear some news in the coming weeks. So with that being said, I'm going to present a few names that I think the club should target. If you're watching live, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. Even if you're watching a replay, drop a comment and let me know who you think the club should target. Despite what David Ornstein wrote in this tweet, I'm just hoping that the club haven't just put everything in one basket and thought, you know what, this is our guy. And if it's not him, we'll do it in the next window, because that's not acceptable. That's not how a big club should move. That's not how Liverpool should move altogether. So let's discuss some targets who I feel like Liverpool should be trying to pursue and trying to get through the door in the coming weeks. I say what now? For me, this is the target. This is the guy that I want to see at the club in this window. It's Alan Morella. So he's a player that I've followed for about a couple of years. He is a former Boca Juniors player, defensive midfielder, has been likened to Mascherano in terms of his style of play, but he's got a bit more to his game. He's very good on the ball. He's already the captain at Porto. He just joined them last summer, literally. We had our opportunity to sign him last summer for around 8 million, decided not to go ahead with that. And we were strongly linked with a move for the midfielder. He's really flourished his time at Porto. He's press resistant. He's got a good range of passing, whether it's short passing or long range. He's a leader. He's tenacious. He's aggressive on the ball. I think he ticks all the boxes. He's a number 6, so naturally a centre defensive midfielder, but can also play the centre mid, can play as a double pivot or in a single pivot. So however honestly I wants to tactically approach the game, he can fit the bill. He's Argentinian, so alongside his compatriot in McAllister, I think those two would form a good partnership together. He's available for around 60 million euros, which I believe if you convert it to pounds, about 55 million. So not too dissimilar in terms of the Zubimendi deal. It's not a release clause, so if they want to negotiate, they can. I don't think Porto would negotiate a lesser fee. But having said that, we have done deals with them in the past with the likes of Luis Diaz, so maybe there's a good relationship and we can get a deal done over the line. This, for me, would be the number one target for Liverpool. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen. He has been strongly linked with the club in the last few weeks. So for me, this is the man that I want to see coming in. If not, I'll present some other names. So let me know what you guys think. So Ederson. So he's the one that was like flavor of the month, I'd say, after that Europa League final. He played against us twice in the Europa League. Good player, box-to-box player. At first, I wasn't too convinced in terms of him being a signing for Liverpool, just because I didn't see him being a player that was defensive-minded. But at the same time, I've probably still got sort of that clock football in the back of my mind, and I've the profiles that I'm looking at maybe tailors more towards Klopp's type of football. Arne Slot has a different way of playing. He won't admit out loud, but he does play a double pivot. So, with that said, in a double pivot, you can't just be a destroyer. You need to have a little bit more to your game, especially the way Arne Slot plays. Technical game. Need to make sure we have high possession. So, whoever comes in needs to have good ball playing ability. I think Ederson fits that bill. He's not spectacular in terms of his passing range, but he's agile. He's quick with the passing. Passing moves really well. Has got a great engine on him, box to box. Can chip in with the goals as well. He's tenacious. So I think he'd be a good foil alongside McAllister or any other midfielders that we have in the squad. I believe he's available for around the 35 million mark. So that's our sweet spot when it comes to doing transfer dealings. So I'd be pleased with this signing. But in terms of the profile, I think Varela ticks all the boxes. Ederson, there will be question marks in terms of his defensive ability, but I feel like that can be coached, and that's something honestly I'm sure will be focused on if he was to pursue Ederson as a player for this summer. This was a player that I really wanted when I analysed the squad about a month ago. Because let's be honest, if you ask the Liverpool fan to name a defensive midfielder in world football, who would it be? I think top three, we'd all probably say Zubimendi, because that was a guy we wanted a couple of years ago. He's a player that we always trying to pursue, but we always get knocked back in terms of showing interest, and Real Madrid just don't have a bar of it. And I think in terms of the profile, he fit the bill really well because he could play the double pivot, could play in a single pivot, and he was quite similar to the way Fabinho used to play, in his heyday, I should say. And this player was available for a lesser fee. He was available for around 30 million. I read something today where Monaco deliberately added 10 million on top of his transfer value for foreign teams, and then they try to lessen it for teams within Ligue 1. But there is no interest in Ligue 1. So currently the interest is from Manchester United and AC Milan. So as it stands, I feel like he's probably heading towards AC Milan because they're trying to get a deal done. I think they've lowered the fee to 25 million euros with AC Milan, so that's around 20 million pounds. So, but in terms of the profile, he was actually the player that was signed as Zubimendi's replacement at Monaco. So, stylistically, very similar to Zubimendi. Can play in a double pivot, can play in a single pivot. That's very important because I don't think Arne Slot's going to be very predictable in his setup. He will alter the system or the shape of the team depending on the opposition. So we need to have players that are multifunctional. You can't just be a player that just plays in a single pivot. You need to be adaptable to playing a double pivot or in a flat three midfield if required. So that's very important in terms of the next person that comes into the squad. And for me, Yusuf Fofana had everything in the locker. Physical presence, which is something we don't have in our midfield. So he'd offer something different when it comes to that sort of range. In terms of his passing ability, good on the ball, has a great shot on him. He's got, I think, 4 goals last season, so not bad for a defensive player. So he definitely has good all-round ability, French international. So he's definitely got that pedigree of winning trophies for his national team. I feel like he was the perfect signing, but there doesn't seem too much interest from Liverpool. 25 million pounds, I thought would have been a great deal. I think it sounds like an FSG deal, but apparently he's not the player that they want. Maybe he didn't measure up in the metrics when they did the analysis of certain players. But I thought he would have been a good candidate, but doesn't look like he fits the profile for Arne Slot. Another one that might not fit the profile, but I feel like it has to be mentioned is Manuel Ugarte, a very tenacious midfielder. Unfortunately, his time at PSG hasn't gone to plan. Signed from Sporting Lisbon. They matched his release clause at time for around 54 million. Liverpool fans were praying for us to sign him last summer, and it didn't happen, unfortunately. Could this be the summer where we could get him? Who knows? Because he didn't have a great spell at PSG, you could even try and approach him on a loan deal with an option to buy. That sort of allows PSG to take him off their wage bill, and we'll have a player, see how he does. If he fits the mold or if it fits the style of play from Arne Slot, then we can, make his deal permanent. So that would be like a win-win situation where, we don't have to pay a transfer fee, but we still have a quality player in our hands. Might be thinking career mode, FIFA career mode right now, because that might not be a realistic thing to do. However, I feel like in terms of profile, he would be a good player. The only concern would be, does he fit that technical aspect of Arne Slot's game? Because he's decent on the ball, but he's not really renowned for his passing. He's more of a destroyer and has a good engine, so he can, go box to box if required. But in terms of his sort of final pass, he's not going to unlock defenses. That's not really his game. So might be limited in terms of what Arne Slot wants in a deep playmaker. But I'd say it's still an option for the Reds. And the final target, I've only done a few today. Martin Hillman. He is a Danish international, scored a great goal in the Euros not so long ago. A player that I highlighted about 18 months ago, or just over a year ago. It's been quite a while. So I highlighted him last year, where he was still playing his football in Serie A. He was playing for a team called Lice, and made his move to Sporting Lisbon last summer. And to be fair, his stock has risen. Defensive midfielder, very, very tenacious, very good with his tackling. I think he does that. I think if you look at his stats, he's very high. Decent on the ball, has a shot on him as well. Young player, up and coming. I feel like he would fit the bill quite well. However, I don't think he's willing to move from Sporting Lisbon so soon. He was actually linked with a move to Manchester United a few weeks ago, and he's rebuffed that approach completely. So I don't know if we've got the ability to get this player. I'm sure we'll have to bid quite high to prize him away. But at this stage, these are just a few targets, that's come to my mind before I did the show. I could probably bring up 10 other names if I really wanted to. But my point is, there are a lot of names out there that the club should be looking into. It can't just be Zubimendi or nothing. We don't need to get the elite, because obviously that comes with a price tag. We need to get someone that fits the style of play and fits the system. And you're telling me there's no one out there in world football that fits that bill? You've hired all of these scouts to take over sort of certain networks and look for these hidden gems, whether they're from South America or Africa or Europe or Asia, and you're telling me you can't find anyone? I'm not buying that. So let's see what happens with this transfer saga. Will Liverpool sign another player by the end of the window? I'm praying. I'm hoping we do. A part of me feels like no, we won't. And that's probably in my head, where I'm thinking more logical, that I don't think we'll sign a player. Because the three areas that I want Liverpool to recruit, and I'm sure a lot of us fans would agree or relate to, we need a left side centre back, we need a number 6, and we need a right winger. These are three areas that need to be added to the squad. And, we shouldn't have to sell players to accommodate that. It should be 3 players added to our current squad. And then I feel like we could challenge for all competitions, fire in all cylinders. Right now, I don't think we have the numbers. I don't think we have the strength and depth in certain areas, especially in midfield. So I'm hoping we do make some signings. It's the 13th of August. We've got about 18 days before the window closes. Richard Hughes did say in his press conference that the last 2 weeks will be manic. Well, he's got some work to do, because right now he's not fulfilled his job, in my opinion. I'm not sure what he's done, if I'm being brutally honest. So he has a lot of work to do. He has a lot of making up to do already. If we don't sign a player, it's going to be a long season, because we're just probably 1 or 2 injuries away, and then it just falls apart. That's how bad it is right now. So yeah, that's how I feel. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys think as well. How are you feeling about Zubimendi not coming to the club? Who would you regard as an alternative target? Feel free to drop a comment, let me know. But that is the end of the show. I could go on for a proper rant for hours and hours, but I'll leave it as it is. I see I've just got a caller here, so let me bring him on, and then we can discuss Liverpool. So we have back Liverpool. How are you doing,
Yeah,
sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. The floor is yours,
Uh,
my
uh, uh,
friend.
yeah.
What would
Um.
you like to say?
Yeah. One thing I have to say concerning this Liverpool whole saga is that number one, when Edward assumed as the whatever CEO of FSG, people
Yes.
were celebrating Edward is back. Edward is back, and I told them something. I
Mm,
said Edward was a good sporting director for Liverpool. Yeah, but one thing I have to say here is I don't trust him. And I keep on saying that thing. I don't trust Edward. I started saying this thing since May. I don't trust Edward. Let me take
Yeah.
you back a little bit.
Mm.
2018, we bought Allison, bought Van Dijk, bought series of players.
Yeah.
What did we do? We won the Champions League. No
Yeah.
signing. The next season, we won the Premier League. Now look
Yeah.
at that trajectory. If we had built on that trajectory, we should have been on another level. But you know what happened? What he did, what did Edward did? What he did after the Premier League, he waited on the last 2 days of the transfer window to do what? To get Thiago Alcantara and Diogo Jota. We needed a centre back. They didn't give us.
Yeah.
Fabinho then was falling off a little bit. Fabinho needed the help. He didn't give us. All he gave was these two players. And that is the fall of Liverpool. From that place, Liverpool started depreciating.
Mm.
So now FSG brought him back to be making money for them.
Yes.
And that is why Liverpool sold Fabio Carvalho. We are good in selling players. You can sleep and wake up in the morning and another player has gone. And that's why I'm upset with people saying, oh, sell Luis Diaz, sell Luis Diaz. How can you sell Luis Diaz? If you sell Luis Diaz, who will you buy? Do you think that these guys will buy players? No. What they will do, they will go everywhere and start looking and tell you, oh, we did see the right type of player, and that's it. All they want to do is to make money.
Yeah.
A club that did not do any signing, but they went to buy another club. They bid 50 million or something for another club. The one they have, they don't want to invest on it. So this will tell you the direction the team is going. So number two, for people who are scared that we are not going to sign a DM, we are going to sign a DM, 100%. Now, let me tell people this. There is no way Liverpool will miss on Zubimendi and come out and say, oh, we miss on Zubimendi, we are looking for another target. If you have the sporting director, what will you do? If you have a DM, you call the DM tomorrow, give him a contract and put a release clause, a proper release clause on top. So they don't want to do that. What they did, that was a technicality. Technicality in the sense that they will say, oh, we don't need the DM again. A DM is not necessary. We have all these players. So to relieve that pressure, because if they don't relieve that pressure, other clubs will skyrocket the money and say, you see a player that is 40 million because in their mind, oh, Liverpool need a DM. Oh, now our DM is 80 million. Our DM is 90 million. So they did that to wave off that pressure. So as soon as they wave off that pressure, now they can now work silently. So that was what they did. So people should not get confused and say, oh, we are not going to sign a DM, because that's a proper thing to do. In law, we call it technicality and diplomacy. Yeah. So that's what they did. So, but people going back to stay trust this, what do you call it, Edward, to tomorrow, I don't trust Edward. Look at what they are doing. They are selling players. Oh, we want to sell this one to here. We want to say, you have not even gotten one. Just get us one £8 million player so that we celebrate. You've not even gotten one for us. And that is where the issue is. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
No problem at all. Thank you for coming on, and you've made some very, very valid points. And a lot of comments that I've actually made today as well. So regards to us signing a DM, I think we'll sign a DM as well. I totally agree with you. And the tweet that I showed on the screen earlier on is to kind of tell exactly what you said, is to relieve the pressure of us signing that DM now. Because everyone knows we missed out on that Mendy deal. So if we were to say, oh no, we've got alternative targets, those targets prices will increase as well. So it makes perfect sense for us to, deny the rumors and put the water down and say, you know what, we're not actually signing anyone. We've got plenty of players, Endo, we've got Bajicic, we've got all of these guys. They can do a job for us. So it's just to ease the pressure for Richard Hughes, who has come in and he hasn't done a job. And the whole Michael Edwards thing, it's a funny one, because yes, he's done great work for us in the past, but you're right. He's a businessman. He's fantastic at getting deals for unknown youth players and then making a profit out of it. But at the end of the day, we haven't really gained from that profit. Does that make sense? We haven't spent that money in the squad. So, like you
Yep.
said, our aim when FSG came in was to win big trophies. You mentioned
Yep.
2018, we won. We won the Champions League. We got Van Dijk and all these players, but we never capitalized from that. We never signed
Yep.
big players. You look at our rivals, Manchester United. Whenever they were on top, they won the league or whatever. They always signed one big player every summer, just to keep
Yeah.
everyone on their toes, to make sure that look, yes, we signed trophy, we won trophies, but there's always going to be competition for your place. So you need to make sure that you are on your toes, that you are ready to fight again, because people get very complacent in this day and age. So for me, I totally agree against with what Bat Liverpool says. He's just dropped off there, but totally agree with what he was saying. Uh, the Michael Edwards one, he said he doesn't trust him. I understand it to an extent. If we don't get the players in this window, I'm gonna have a lot of reservations about him, even further, and more issues with that, because in the past year or so, it's been this whole sort of discussion that Klopp versus Edwards, because Klopp was very sentimental when we were trying to negotiate deals or trying to sell players, and Edwards disagreed. But Edwards, I feel like he's a master at getting deals done. So his job as a sporting director fitted his skill set. Now he's CEO of football, so he's not really actively involved in the transfer dealings now. He's trying to make money for the club, and he's trying to do that by acquiring a secondary club. So maybe we can use them as a club where we send out players on loan and help with their development, and also sell on players where we buy probably young players or players on a free and then sell them on, like we did with Carvalho. Carvalho has been sold for 20 million plus add-ons, and if he meets those add-ons, he's worth 28 million. So Solanke, we did that 5 years ago. Added a sell-on clause, we've gained 9 million because he's just gone to Spurs for 65 million. So these guys are businessmen, so you've got to always keep that in mind. And that's frustrating when you're a football fan, because yes, they're doing good moves from a business point of view, but where's the ambition for the club? Whenever we've won the Champions League or when we won the league, we never capitalized. We never signed big players. We signed Sepp Vandenberg and just little youth players, Adrian. And what's that going to do for us? So I understand Bat Liverpool's concern with Michael Edwards. For me, he's just appointed his good friend Richard Hughes. They're mates. So he just hooked up his boy with a big job at Big Liverpool. But he hasn't delivered. So he's got a lot of work to do, because if he's not signing players or signing high caliber players for Liverpool, his job's on the line. And that obviously affects Michael Edwards' reputation as well. So when Michael Edwards was appointed, I was happy because I was thinking, do you know what? Maybe we'll get some deals done. Maybe we'll be a bit more smart in the market. Maybe we'll try and find players from across the world where, we were linked with the likes of Villa, who I'm saying, let's get him. We could have signed him for 8 million last year. I want to get those type of hidden gems and bring them to the club and be a bit more smart with our recruitment. But at the same time, also sign ready-made players that are, what's the term? Plug and play. You bring them in and they're ready to go. We need to buy those players. We need to find that balance. But unfortunately, we're not finding that balance. But look, we've got 18 days left. I'm praying, I'm hoping that we do sign a DM, but I want more. I'm not trying to be greedy here. I want a centre back. I want a right winger as well. If we can get these three areas into our squad, we have a great chance of challenging for major titles this season. I'm not saying we're going to win the quad or anything like that, but we will have the strength in depth to compete, because there's going to be a lot of games being played. If we're fighting all competitions and we make a lot of progression, if we end up achieving or going into finals for each competition, we're playing around 60 games. And it's not unrealistic. We've done that consecutively over the years. So it's not out of the question. It is something that we have done. And unfortunately, due to not having the right players, so Bat Liverpool mentioned there were times where we needed a centre back, it was never addressed. There was a time we needed a left back, it was never addressed. There was a time where we needed number 6, still not addressed. So this is the thing with this club. We always do the minimal when it comes to the transfer market. We all can analyze the squad and realize there's a gap there, there's a gap there. We've never had a backup for Mohamed Salah ever. We've always whenever he's gone to AFCON or whether he's, injured or whatnot, it's always a makeshift. Even a few months ago when he was at AFCON, we played Diaz there for a couple of games. We played Gakpo there. We played Jota there. Yes, we ended up getting wins during that period of time, but that was just a makeshift thing. We should have players that are ready to play in those positions. And when you've got a player like Mohamed Salah, buy someone that's like an understudy that can learn off a top player, whether it's from a technical point of view or just from his professionalism. Because Harvey Elliott, for example, has said that in the past, that I'm learning a lot from just talking to Salah, where he's telling me advice in terms of what to eat and what not to do and all this sort of stuff. So having young players around these world-class players, it will have such a big influence that you can't teach these things as well. So Liverpool missing the trick right now, and I feel like it will cost us in the long term. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong, and in the end of this transfer window, we sign some players. Sounding hopeful here, but who knows? We'll see. Only time will tell. And yes, that's just how it is. Just got a comment here. This was Liverpool Bites. Sorry, my network is bad. I was one who ran. No problem. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your contributions. Loved hearing what you had to say. Thank you for coming on. And just got a comment here from Richard. Big up, Richard, as always. He says FSG ambition. No top four, no player signing, no trophies. It's an absolute joke, Richard. Absolute joke. And that's why I can never wholeheartedly say I'm a fan of FSG. But at the same time, I can't say I hate FSG as well. I'm always in the middle, and I'm not trying to sound diplomatic or I'm on the fence. Because from a business point of view, I understand the moves that they make. But at the same time, you've got to show a bit of ambition. I'm not asking for us to spend 100 million on one player, and I'm asking you to sign players that we need. So it could be a 30 million right winger, it could be a 50 million number 6, and it could be a 20 million centre back. I'm not asking for 100 million. I'm not asking for Bastoni, who cost us a lot of money. I'm not asking for a Zubimendi 50 million, which is not a lot, but according to Richard Hughes, it's too much. I'm not asking us to sign Kudus for 80 million. Because obviously, that's too much for FSG. That's not how they do business. But if you're a businessman and you've made profit in the past, show us how you do business. Be smart with your recruitment. Even if you're buying hidden gems from across the world, but they fit the profile that we need right now, I don't think the fan base would be going that crazy. Some will still have reservations, be like, oh, do you know what? I don't know much about him. He might not be that good. He might not be the quality that we need. But at the same time, it could be someone like, do you know what? I'm not sure about him. Let's see how he does. And he'll just surprisingly impress us so much. And we're like, do you know what? Fair play. The scouts did their job. Because there's so many players in the past where we might not have been aware of them and they've done so well. So looking at Arsenal, they signed Martinelli for like a few million quid from a random club in Brazil. Why can't we do stuff like that? I'm not trying to gloat, but I know I've got good football knowledge and I've got good football ID. When I see certain games, I know who's a good player, who's not a good player. So are you telling me scouts can't do that? They can't find these sort of players? It's a joke. So I'm not buying that. This is big Liverpool. We can't just be doing these sort of deals and not expecting us to compete as well. And another thing as well, we've always been linked to players from South America, like the Varela I just mentioned. We were linked to him for 8 million last year. But for some reason, like, oh, maybe he's not ready to come to Europe. Just bring him to Liverpool. See how he settles. If he doesn't do well, you can sell him to a Porto afterwards, not the other way around. Because when these players go to the Portuguese league and they have half a decent season, the prices rocket like 5 times. Look at Enzo. Enzo was a player, the Chelsea Enzo. That was a player we were supposed to get as well. But I think we didn't think he was worth the value. And I think it was like 12 million as well. That was the rumored fee. Went on to Chelsea for 100 odd million. What's he doing now? So these players are being signed for a ridiculous amount of money because we're missing the trick. We've scouted these players, but we're not buying these players. The Luis Diaz, we scouted him years ago. We could have got him for cheap as well. So I think this is the frustration from us fans, where we know there's gaps in our squad. There's always gaps in our squad, but they're never addressed. And we're not saying get the most elite player, but at least buy players to make our squad competitive, make sure we've got the numbers to compete in all cylinders. Right now, we're not really competing. At this stage, I'm concerned because we've obviously Thiago didn't play much, but it's still a player in terms of numbers that's reduced. Matip started the season, got injured, so he's another player missing. We're not replacing these players, and these are players of good quality as well. So for me, it's a big concern, but I'm going to try and be a little bit optimistic and say, do you know what? I'm hoping Richard Hughes is doing the groundwork in the background and it will surprise in the coming weeks. If not, then I will definitely be doing a run after the transfer window. There's no doubt that I will be doing one because for me, the season is a write-off. I don't care how lovely our football is looking like in pre-season. It's pre-season. It's not competitive football. So once we play competitive games, that's when you know. And once we play high level of games and we're playing in Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, that's when you know. Because when we start getting injuries, we're not replacing them with good quality players. You know, Sobozlai gets injured, we're putting Morton on instead of him. The level's dropped. So that's the kind of level we're competing at right now. So very, very frustrating. Just going to read a few comments. And I've got Uncle Roz in the back, so I'll bring him on the show very shortly as well. Richard says FSG are cheapskate, tie, and take money from the club. Yeah, I can't even speak against that. It's all about making money for them, all about making a profit. They've never shown ambition, and it's the same with their baseball club as well. It's the same way that they do things there as well. So, what can you say? We don't have the right owners. Fortunately, we're not fortunate to have, rich arrows giving us all kind of limited sums. But that's not what we've been asking for, if I'm being honest with you. As a fan base, we're not asking you to spend 100 million per player. We just want the right quality to be added to the squad, just like all the other teams are doing in the league. We're not asking for much. One player that I really wanted Liverpool to sign this summer was Calafiori, because he was a left-footed centre-back. He could play left-back, centre-back. Unfortunately, his stock was risen because of his appearances in the Euros. But before that, he was only available for 20 million. So if Liverpool was smart, they would have got that deal done before the Euros. But what do I know? Richard also says, team below Liverpool last season are spending more money. We are in the Champions League. We're the only team that hasn't signed a player in the league. Ipswich Town, they've bought Hutchinson, they've bought some other players as well. We haven't signed a single player. No player has walked through that door. Big Liverpool. We're not doing anything. Ridiculous. And then Chibuke, who's back Liverpool, came on earlier on. He said, which day do you normally do calling shows? So normally, I think from this season onwards, I'll be doing a Premier League weekly show. So it'll be every Mondays. I'll be discussing all the games throughout the weekend, but it will also be a calling show. So it'll be for all fans. I'll also be doing calling shows for the Liverpool match reactions that I do. So after a match, it will generally be after the match or in the evening. So just be on the lookout. And yeah, the floor is free for everyone to come on, have their say. Today was a kind of a spontaneous one where I was a little bit frustrated with what's going on with the Zubimendi deal. But I was like, you know what? I'm sure a lot of us are frustrated. So I thought, why not make this a calling show? But I'll try and do a lot more calling shows, let the fans have their say. Because, yeah, right now, I'm sure we've got a lot to get off our chest. And it's just, yeah, it's one of those times where it's frustrating being a Liverpool fan. So, we got to express ourselves sometimes. And last comment from Richard says, what is Michael Edwards Jr. and Richard Hughes' job? Julian Ward, is he still around? I don't know about him. But Michael Edwards, CEO of football. So he was originally sporting director a few years back when he was working alongside Klopp. Did a great job. Made a lot of money buying young players and then flipping them and then making profit out of them. Richard Hughes is basically taking that role now. So he's sporting director. They call him the Notebook, or they've got giving him some nickname because apparently he's got so many contacts all over Europe. Where are those contacts? Because they're not helping him out right now. He's fluffing up deals where it's the easiest deal you can get done. It's a release clause. You just have to match the offer, speak to the player, and you get the deal done. I know I'm speaking simplistic here, but when you're on Amazon and you see buy now, you don't negotiate, do you? You just buy now and click on the product and you get it, isn't it? It's no different, because what you do before the transfer window happens, you have a set of targets that you want to try and sign in the window. So unethically, yes, I guess you already have discussions with those players or the agents. So you probably, liaise with the agent and said to them, you know what, we're interested in your player. What's the chance of him coming to us? So they would say, you know what, the player would love to come to join your club. Those discussions would have happened from February on to May or July, however you want to phrase it. It's not like, well, stupidly, we've done it in the past where we've made a bid for Caicedo thinking he'll come to us, but we actually never spoke to the player. It was done through club to club, which is schoolboy error, but that's another time. That's another show for another time. But when it's a release clause, you have an inkling that that player wants to join your club. So Zubimendi has rejected Barcelona. Because I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, he might not even want to leave Spain because he'll get homesick and all that sort of stuff. But he rejected one of the biggest clubs in Spain because he doesn't want to leave his boyhood club. Kind of like Steven Gerrard. He didn't want to leave Liverpool either. He almost got swayed by Chelsea, but he didn't actually leave the club. So you have to do your research in terms of that player. What is he like? Is he ambitious? Because if he's an ambitious individual, he'd want to move on and play at other clubs. If he's content to being, at his local club with, where he's from, and he doesn't really want to get out of his city, there's no point of targeting a player like that. They're not going to leave. You can throw them as much money as you want. They're content. They're happy to be where they are. So I don't blame him for rejecting the deal. And now he's going to get a new contract with better terms because of the interest that we've shown. So for me, it looks like Zubimendi's agent, who's apparently friends with Richard Hughes, has mugged him off. He's used Liverpool's interest to get more money for his client. Job done. So we're the mugs, like we were last year as well with the Lavia and Caicedo deal. So now you know why I didn't do content about the Zubimendi deal. Because I still got PTSD from last year. And I've got seeing content creators singing songs about Zubimendi. Yeah, we're a joke. We're a joke of a fan base right now. So, it's frustrating. Richard says Arne Slot is a yes man head coach. At this stage, I can't really say too much on Arne Slot in terms of is he a yes man or not. He could be, but only time will tell. Right now, he's head coach. That is it. He's not a manager. He's not pulling any strings right now. He will tell Richard Hughes and the transfer committee that, you know what, I like this player and I like that player. They'll be like, let us check the metrics and then we'll let you know if we're going to go for him or not. That's how it is. He's there purely to coach the players. So right now, if he's a yes man or not, I can't say for certain because he's just walked through the door. So we'll kind of reserve that judgment until due time. But yes, very, very frustrating. So what I'll do now, I'll bring on Uncle Roz. I'll have a little bit of breather. I'll let my friend talk. Uncle Roz, how you doing, sir?
What's going on? Man
Talk
said he
to
got
me, man.
mugged off, you know.
No, we got mugged off. Think about it. Like everyone was saying, oh, we're gonna get Zubimendi. The agent's good friends with Richard Hughes. Now his client's got a better contract. He's got a better salary. He's probably got a sign-on fee as well. He's living it.
Apparently, the deal that he's got from Real Sociedad doesn't match the deal that what he would have got for Liverpool.
Oh, is it?
Liverpool one's supposed to be higher, but the mistake that Liverpool made, was this. It's one or two things, right? If say for instance that Zubimendi said yes to him, yes, I want to move in that, right? What Liverpool's next thing they should have done was pay the release clause. Quick, pay the release clause. That's your job. That's your next job. Pay the release clause. Don't dilly-dally and mess around and try and see if we can get it for cheaper. Because this guy says yes, he said yes, and he said no to other sort of like other clubs like Arsenal, Man United, and so forth. Yeah. Because he said no to them and he said yes to you. Don't make that be an inclination for you to start messing around. Yeah. And this is what Liverpool do. Remember this. This is what Liverpool do. They drag their feet a lot when it comes to certain things. So what they did, they dragged their feet. Yeah. Gave sort of like Real Sociedad that time to get into my man's head and say, well, X, Y, and Z. Now he's come out and said, maybe I don't want to go now, actually, to be honest. I'll stay here, right? Now, the other thing is, say that Zubimendi and they was like, they approached Zubimendi and said, yeah, you know what, we want you to play at Liverpool. We've got this great project going off here. this, and this and that. You've even got South American guys here that speak your language. You're gonna feel at home and blah blah blah. Because we've got Luis Diaz, we've got Brycetic, we've got Darwin Núñez, we've got Allison, we've got McAllister. All these guys that they speak Spanish. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, right. So you're gonna feel at home. Yeah, you're gonna feel at home. And he then says like, I don't know. All right, mate. Cool. Thanks. Bye. Move on. Just move on to the next target. And the third thing is, at the end of the day, right? The third thing is, and this is the kicker now, right? Now they're not getting Zubimendi. They're content in not getting a 6. Not getting a 6. They say, oh well, you know what? Ryan Gravelworks can play there. Oh, Curtis Jones can play there. Bicetich can play there. Two of the guys that they just mentioned, yeah, right? Because like Bicetich is a centre back and a DM. Do you know what I mean? That's his job, right? But two of the guys that he's mentioned there, you're gonna have to convert them into playing a different role. Yeah, convert these guys into playing a different role, right? That's a recipe for disaster, in my words. Yeah.
Yeah.
With this situation here, right? They ain't got Zubimendi. Fine. We're not the first club's going to be rejected, and surely not the last. But move on to other targets. You know what I mean? Was we told that they was after Emerson? Yeah. Wasn't they told that they was after Alan Varela? Do you know what I mean? We was told that they was after these two people. Why not go to them and say, look, what's going on? Or even if he said that you had them using talks with them anyway, when you was like trying to do something to Zubimendi, using talks with them in case that one fell through. Do you know what I mean? So if Zubimendi decided to come, he could have said, all he had to do is go back to Atlanta and said, you know what, we decided to go into a different direction and obviously get into taking Zubimendi. Do you understand what I'm saying? You could even say to these clubs that we're looking at a host of like DMs and that, right? And we've identified sort of like 4 or 5 DMs and that, and you come one on the top of the list. Do you know what I mean? You understand? It's a point that, well, like, why a lot of people and fans, why a lot of fans are kind of like upset and frustrated because this keeps on repeating stuff all the time. It keeps on happening all the time. They keep on going for these really class players, yeah, that would make a difference, but don't get them. Do you know what I mean? At least when Klopp was there, at least Klopp got something else. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, that season that we were supposed to get Zubimendi, yeah? And he didn't get him. What did he do? He went and bought Darwin Núñez. He's thinking, what I think he might be thinking, well, look, if we ship goals, why not have attackers there that can score more than what we can ship? Yeah? Right? It may not have worked out that way, but that could have been his trailer 4. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, what it is now, we're not going to get any replacement. We're just going to sort of like be told that day, well, we're gonna carry on with this team, joint with team, and then we'll look at it in January, see where we are in January, if we need to buy. Knowing that January they're not going to buy nobody, and they're going to be sold another dream to say that this war chest in summer, because what happens with Liverpool is this: whenever Liverpool drop out the top 4, that's when they spend money. Yeah. When they're in the top 4 in the Champions League, they don't often spend money. You remember that season when we won the Champions League? Who did they go out and buy? They went out.
Adrian.
Adrian on a free. They spent $2.5 million on Seth Vandenberg. A further $2.5 million, which had to bump it up to about 7 at the trial Bruno for Harvey Elliott. So who did they buy? When we won the league, yeah, we never bought anybody.
No.
Imagine that. We never bought anybody. When we won the league, we never bought anybody. And all that was because we won the league, yeah. So they're thinking, well, look, you know what? The team that's just won the league, they can go for another season. You know what I mean? Don't need to put anything in there, right? And B, and then we're in the top 4. So we're in the top 4 and we're in the Champions League. So we'll be getting money. Do you know what I mean? We're getting money. Do you understand what I'm coming to? Do you understand what I'm saying? So what happened? All that fucked up. Excuse me. All that messed up.
Yeah.
Because what happened? What happened? Gomez went out. Fred Van Dijk went out. Matip went out. We had to play 2 midfielders in defence because they wouldn't spend money. They only spent money at the last day of the transfer window when they bought Davis the hologram, and they got Kabak, they got Kabak. Remember the day? You remember something? Davis never actually paid for our club. He never played. He didn't play 1 minute. It's not like an Arthur Melo, right? When Arthur Melo, at least he played 15 minutes. He didn't play no minutes at all for the club, and we still got 15 million from him from Rangers. How's that work out?
Daylight robbery.
That is it. We literally went up Scotland and pulled their pants down. Seriously, we literally did that. Pause. Hey, do you understand what I'm getting at? Do you see the irony of this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now at the day is this. Jurgen Klopp has left the club because he can't take it anymore. After that the Bellingham situation, where he done all that work to try and to get Bellingham to the club, and Bellingham, make no bones about it. Don't listen to what anybody else says, right? Bellingham was going to come to Liverpool. Bellingham was going to come to Liverpool. Bellingham was on the way to Liverpool because what it was with Klopp, he done all the groundwork. He literally laid it on a platter for FSG and the transfer committee. He laid it on a platter and said, look, here you go. Yeah? Right. They didn't want to spend the money. They didn't want to spend the money for Bellingham to get it from Dortmund. Do you know what I mean? We can say, well, we can cut corners, yeah? Right? Yeah. So then at the day, so like Real Madrid, right? So Real Madrid looked at it and said, okay, you're not going to buy him, no. You're not going to buy it. You're not going to buy the best young talent in Europe when he wants to come to your club. All right, we'll have him. And they took him. And that was a final straw for for Klopp, yeah? And he said, no, I can't do it anymore. They've gone. Now what they've got, right? Now at the day, Michael Edwards come in. And Julian Ward did come back.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, you're right.
Julian Ward came back. He came back. He can't trying to say, oh, yeah, I want to go in because I want to spend more time with the family and blah blah blah, right? FSG must have called him. Well, Uncle Edwards must have called him. I said, yeah, man, come up to the club when we get a bit more money and you get a higher position. He soon forgot about his family then, didn't he? And come back to the club. Yeah, you see that? So, right, he's come back to the club, right? You got Michael Edwards that's in sole control of the club. He's the CEO. Yeah, he's supposed to make things happen. You understand me? Yeah, and also he's with this multi-club, this multi-club thing that they want to do. He's been brought in for that specific purpose, the multi-club, and to run our club. Been brought in to run that. What happened with Bordeaux?
Yeah.
What happened in Bordeaux?
They're in admin, aren't they? Or they're on the verge.
They've gone out of existence, man.
Yeah.
They're falling
in. Negotiate a deal.
Yeah, they're falling into admin because what they had to do at the day, right? They had to sort of like, I think there's something like that. They had to drop out the league or something like that.
Yeah.
They had to drop out the league or something. So a lot of their players lost their job. Bordeaux was offered to them for a certain price. They didn't want to pay it.
Yeah.
So you effed that one up, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is your purpose. You've been brought in for this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So what happened now? So then what he done at the day, right? Which I said in my other channel, right? He's got a lot of mates racing. Yeah. Richard Hughes is his pal. Richard Hughes,
homeboy right there.
Richard Hughes at the end of the day, all right, is his pal. Him, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes used to fleece Bournemouth. Dominic Solanke, they paid 21 million for Dominic Solanke. They paid about 18 million for Jordan Ibe. Yeah, they had
is it Brad Smith?
Yeah, Brad Smith,
the left back.
Yeah, but it's paid about 8 million for him.
Yeah,
paid 8 million for him. Remember they had thing on loan there as well, didn't they? Wilson, is it Harry Wilson?
Yep,
Harry Wilson had him on loan there. They got they used to fleece Bournemouth.
Yeah,
right. They talk about sort of Richard Hughes brought in who's that defender that's with Man City, the Dutch one.
Okay.
Yeah, he brought him in for Chelsea, innit?
Yeah.
But what really people got really understand is that Nathan Ake was only good when he went to Man City.
Yeah,
he wasn't good at Bournemouth because I'm sure he near enough went down with Bournemouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, he wasn't good there. He's only good at the day when he got a proper manager. When he got a big boy manager.
And when he played for Netherlands as well, because obviously that's where he probably shined as well. So that's why.
Yeah, but that's even before when he was at Bournemouth and he played with Netherlands that day. Trust me, he weren't much cop. You know what I mean? He weren't much. But when he went to Man City, then his game started to raise.
Yeah.
Do you understand me? His game started to raise because number one, when he's with Chelsea Academy, he was hardly getting in the games. Yeah.
No,
with Bournemouth at the day, right? He was in a mediocre team with Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So when he went to Man City, he started playing some big boys now, and he had a big time sort of like manager. His game started to raise. So I want that. Nothing to do with Richard Hughes. Nothing to do with Richard Hughes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I've said it and I've said to people and David, Richard Hughes is a championship level sporting director, Championship League One at best sporting director. He's not good enough to be at Liverpool. No, neither is that Gary Birchall. That's a head scout. These people are not good enough to be with Liverpool. So then you put that on the fact that they've got Arne Slot in at the day, right? To be fair to him at the day, he's a head coach, right? That's got the job of his lifetime. He's got his dream job. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, right. But he's a head coach. He takes what's given to him. Yes. He don't say, "Well, I want this player and I want that player." He takes what's given to him. They will identify player or players. Yeah. Right. And they say they get them and say, right, you know what? Do something with that. Do something with the players or player. They say do something with that because they're doing it in the American way now. Everything's American way. Because this is how they do it in America with the head coach and the people around and do the transfers and the drafts, as it were. Yeah. They bring in these players and say, yeah, go on, mate, coach. Yeah, that's all right at the end of the day, right? But then what happens at the day, right, when this player that you give me doesn't fit our model, my model or my way of doing things? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to pull a rabbit out of the hat and make this bloody guy sort of like a world beater? Yeah. So we can't. We when you look at something like Arne Slot, you can't really blame him, really, because he's in a sort of like a funny position himself, because he's either make or break. I've always said about sort of like Arne Slot, I've got nothing against the guy. It's just that to me at the end of the day, he hasn't got the experience to be at Liverpool Football Club. He hasn't got the experience to follow somebody like Jurgen Klopp. Yeah. If that's what you want, if he was going for experience, yeah, right, and somebody to follow Jurgen Klopp, would have got Amrin from Portugal. Would have got him. Yeah. We would have got him because he's done his bread and butter, where he's been to different teams in Portugal and got them sort of like, you know what I mean, got in prestige positions in their league and won them something, won them some silverware. Do you know what I mean? I can't really say at the end of the day that so Arne Slot is going to win something for us. People say
anyone can say that with chess right now. I don't think no one can, because we're watching games right now. We're playing decent football, but it's not enough. It's just pre-season. Do you understand? So obviously, the philosophy, we can see it to an extent, but like you said, he's a head coach, so that is his job. His job is for him to train these players. But the thing is, I'm not pointing a finger on the slot, and I don't think I will.
No, you can't. You can't.
You can't, because if Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards did their job and actually recruited the players that we need, we wouldn't be having a discussion right now.
Facts.
Because we would have got the players that we needed. And we're not asking for Mbappe, we're not asking Vinicius, and we're not trying to ask for these players. We've
Well,
got
mind that.
Well, we'd love to, you know. We'd
So
love
we'll
to, but, you know,
that'd be nice, though, still, you know.
it would be nice. It would be nice, but yeah, we got FSG, isn't it? So
Yeah.
for me, it's like there's gaps where we all know we need a defender, a midfielder, and an attacker. Everyone knows it. It's not rocket science. And we're not even asking for the elite. We just want the players that fit the profile to give us more strength in depth. That's the concern right now. We don't have the strength in depth. Our first 11, and I think our bench as well, is to a good standard. But once we get 2 or 3 injuries here and there,
you're shattered.
the levels drop, and it's a big level drop. It's like from an elite Premier League player to like a championship level. And that's no disrespect to the young players that we have in our squad. But we're Liverpool Football Club. We need to be having quality all the way around and trying to compete for all competitions. Yes, we want to win, but the thing is, if we're not signing these players, we're not competing. We're not just gonna go through teams because we're Liverpool. You have to earn your stripes when you play these games. There's been so many times we've lost to, like, Atalanta. No offense, they're a good team. We should have beaten them in the Europa League.
Yeah, we should have beaten them.
We should have beaten them. But we just didn't have the game plan. We just weren't. I think that was the time where you could see the squad was getting a bit burnt out. The energy was deteriorating. We weren't really as energetic as we were. And that's Jurgen Klopp football, where energy levels always have to be high. But he never had like a full squad. Because every summer, you probably remember as well, there's been times where we don't have a left back, we don't have a centre back, we don't have a number 6. We still don't have a number 6 right now. But there's always gaps. Every season there's a gap. And we have to sell a player to accommodate another position. And look, we're selling Carvalho.
It can't work.
It can't work all the time. Like it can work because obviously when FSG came in, we were in a situation where we couldn't get big names or we couldn't pay big fees. But since that whole Coutinho thing, that's when the ball started rolling. So we could kind of use our leverage and sign big players. And then once you sign big players, you're winning accolades. And when you're on top, that's when you can attract the elite.
That's what you strengthen, don't you?
We never did it. We never did it.
I always say, and they strengthen in a position of power.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If you're not gonna do that, well, then you're gonna fall to the wayside. Do you know what I mean? I mean, to be honest, today, as you're saying, what is true. There's every summer there always is a problem, and I think that was like when you look at Jurgen Klopp, why he left. That was part of the problem. He's like saying like every season, I'm always left short. And this team has got so much potential in doing this and doing that. Because you know that sort of like season that when we was going for the quad, we was probably at the day only one player away from winning that quad, one player away from making history.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? And then what happens at the day, right? Because at the day they still got doing that module where, you know what, if we're in the Champions League, we're not going to spend, but if we're out of the Champions League, we are going to spend. Because of that, the following season now, we had a crap season. And you can see a lot of these players at the day, a lot of these players like Fabinho, Henderson, all their man there were literally burnt out. They had nothing left. They literally had nothing left in the locker. And it was kind of like upsetting to watch these players that they being put through the fire season after season, and they've got no backup. And then what happens now? The season that they were, when you know what, they cannot give anymore. It's just like impossible. I just ain't got no more. The season when that happens, and they get slated by the fans. Oh, he's crap. You know what I mean? So this guy. Do you know what I mean? Henderson. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but they didn't realize at the day, right, that these guys at the day, they've been on it for about 3 or 4 seasons. They have been on it. Mane at the day was getting slated in his last season. saying he's not good. He's never been good. But you weren't saying that about a season or two ago about Mane. But it's because at the day, right? Mane is a selfless human being. Yeah. When he first come to the club, he's playing the right hand side. Done damage, right? When Salah come the following season, I think it's the following season. When Salah come, and they want to play Salah on the right, so he can cut him with his left foot. It's all right, fair enough. I'll go on the left there. I will go on the left and I'll cut in on my right foot, and I'll score you goals. Trust me, I will be wicked, And he done that. When Luis Diaz come in, right, on the left hand side, he goes, okay, I'll go through the middle, and he done damage for the middle. You understand what I'm saying? Ever since Mane, Sadio Mane has been in the squad, we've always qualified for the Champions League. We've always qualified for the Champions League, ever since he's been in the squad. The day that Mane comes out of the at the squad, we don't get that. We drop out the Champions League. You know what I mean? And then you have to go and spend money, and you spend money, and you get people like McAllister, which people were looking at. You get Ryan Gravenberch, you get Sobozlai, you get Wataru Endo. Do you know what I mean? That's when you start spending money, but you still don't plug all the gaps. You still have the centre back. Now I will be quite willing, I'll be quite willing at the day to use Sepp Vandenberg, right, for left centre back spot. If I know that that they're gonna buy a left back and sort of like a midfielder, you know what I mean, like a six, because when you look at it, we probably don't really need a forward player because we've got like Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, Salah, and Darwin Núñez. We've got about 5 attackers. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we probably don't need a forward player, but we sure do need a DM. We sure do need a DM. Priority. You know what I mean? And you're telling me at the end of the day, people want to tell me at the end of the day, right? Well, Zubimendi is the only option out there. There's not an option. There's not an option out there.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
I can't believe that. There's not an option out there that's either, as good as him or even better.
Yeah.
It just means that you have to take it just means that you have to do something that you don't really like doing. Is take money out your pocket and buy that player. Now this is the signs of things to come. It's not going to get any better.
Yeah,
it's literally not going to get better. That's what's frustrating about it. You know what I mean? I said that in the day, like previously, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't buy anybody this transfer window. Look how long they've waited to get this Zubimendi deal, right? And it's all fallen through. We have got about 2 weeks until the window sort of like closes. Any like player that sort of like Liverpool goes with now, they're getting fleeced. They're getting fleeced, right? And you know at the end of the day, Liverpool don't like spending money. So what they're gonna come out with this: when they don't buy a player, they're gonna come out and say like, we couldn't find any player that matched the data. Yeah. That means that they just didn't want to spend money. They was charging this and that amount, right? And you just didn't want to spend the money. You go for the Adam Wharton for Crystal Palace, you're getting charged about 100 million.
Oh, they're ripping you off. Because obviously he's like the next big thing, isn't he? So he's gonna cost an arm and a leg. So
put your pants down, mate.
Honestly,
they're putting their pants down in it.
And Palace have every right to do that because they were smart. They recruited the kid from Championship, signed him for about 10, 12 million. And now they know they've got a star in the making, so they can do whatever they want. For Liverpool, I really hope that the David Ornstein tweet where he said that we're not going to target number 6. I'm hoping that's just PR and that we actually are going to do it because, like you said, if we are like we're looking at alternatives, then we're going to get fleeced out at least 10, 20 million on top of the actual transfer value. So I'm being optimistic here. I'm hoping that they do business behind the scenes. But having said that, this is FSG. We've seen the track record. they don't spend money where they don't want to spend money.
No,
So
don't.
in my head, I'm thinking exactly what you said. My head is saying we're not going to get anyone. As sad as it sounds, I don't think we're going to sign anyone. But my heart has been hopeful and be like, do you know what? I hope Richard Hughes is doing his thing. He'll get some deals behind the scene, and I will be happy at the end of the window. That's me being hopeful and being optimistic.
Yeah.
But because of our track record, we've had summers where we haven't bought what we needed. So it's not like out of the question where it's impossible that Liverpool won't sign anyone. We won the league. Did we sign anyone after the league?
Nope.
No. So the record is there. So, you know, it's one of the, it's very uncertain times because even with our new manager or new coach, I should say, it's still uncertain times because it's very hard to predict how the team are going to do this season. I can't say for sure we're going to do great and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's unknown territory because right now it's a new coach, it's new philosophy, new methodology. We don't know how this team is going to connect as the season goes on. The signs are good in pre-season, but it's just pre-season. It's just a time where players are finding their fitness, their rhythm, and then once the season goes in, when you're playing more competitive games, then you'll see the levels. Because yes, I know we beat Arsenal United pre-season, but it's pre-season. We played against their kids, they play against our kids. It is what it is. So for me, the concern is that we're not signing players, but also at the same time, I'm not hearing anything about contract extensions. That's a concern for me as well.
They're gonna go for free, man. They're gonna go for free. My friend Ozzy, you thinking that day Trent's not watching the situation? Trent's not watching the situation. How this club is moving. He hasn't been watching how they've been moving. He's probably thinking, all right, then you got rid of young Klopp because they did get rid of him, and even though he left, they got rid of him because they put him in an impossible situation. Yeah. They got rid of him and goes, all right, let me show me at the end of the day what you're gonna do now. Yeah. Trent's watching that situation at the end of the day, and plus as well, remember when we want to get Bellingham, right? The main ingredient was with that is that Jurgen Klopp and Trent was chatting to him, trying to get him to come to Liverpool, and it succeeded, right? But you think that Bellingham's doing the same thing to sort of like Trent. In return, he's doing the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? So he's watching that situation. He's seen how they move. I'll tell you something. If they don't buy anybody of substantial worth in this transfer window, all Trent's going to say, well, nah, I'm not signing no contract, brother. And then in 5 months' time, in 5 months' time, he can talk to any club out of Europe. Sorry, out of England. Sorry, out of England.
Out of England, yeah, correct.
Talk to any club. So really and truly, right, how it stands at the moment, this is how it stands at the moment, right? Yeah, it's Real Madrid was bad mind, If Real Madrid was bad mind, they could literally get 3 of our players for free.
They will.
Get Salah,
they will try and do it.
Virgil van Dijk, and they can get Trent. And then Trent and by the age of 24, won everything in world football.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean, in football.
As in English football, yeah.
Club standards. Yeah, club standards. You might say, well, because he did win that World Cup thing.
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah,
he won the lot, basically, yeah.
He's won the lot before he's 24. That's a prodigy there.
Yeah.
That's a prodigy. And plus as well, like something like Trent is on 180 grand a week, yeah. He goes to sort of like Madrid, and he could be on like 2.5, 300 grand tax free.
More. People like Sancho at United are getting like 400.
Yeah, they get 350.
Yeah, 350. So Trent has every right to ask for that as well.
He's got. Speaking about Man United, they've signed 3 players. They've signed Nani Yaro. They signed De Ligt and right, which we were linked with a couple of seasons ago.
Before,
they signed De Ligt, and then signed Maserati. I think Maserati, something like that. They signed him.
Yeah. Maserati, and they've got Zetsky as well, the Dutch striker.
Yeah, they've got Zetsky.
4 players now.
They got 4 players, and do you know what it is? Imagine they're even looking at Evan Ferguson from Brighton.
Yeah. I spoke about it earlier today. £50 million.
Yeah, they're doing that. So really and truly, that man are signing all these people and they were. And check it now, they haven't even got a roof. They haven't even got a roof, blood. And they're
I know,
signing
it's
all the players
pollution.
every day, right? And we cannot sign one.
No, it's
We
a
can't
joke.
get one player line. Don't you listen? You know what it is? We're becoming a laughing stock. You know, people are laughing at us, blood. Make no mistake. All these guys that these content creators and stuff like that, they're laughing at Liverpool. They're saying like, what a joke Liverpool is. First, you get a B-Tech manager in, yeah, right, and now you're not buying no players. You've gone to sort of like Real Sociedad, yeah, gone to Real Sociedad, and they've rejected you. He's rejected him for that, right? And now you're not going to buy any players. We're going to buy any players. But all these teams know at the end of the day, right? If Liverpool come for a player, all they know at the end of the day, say a certain price, and you scare them off. Edwards at the end of the day was like supposed to be the king of wheeling and dealing and that, getting players for cheap and all that. You know what? That ain't going to work all the time.
Nah.
That's not going to work all the time. It may work with the Jotas and sort of like and Thiago at the end of the day, yeah. It may work with them, but it's not going to work with everybody. Sometimes, and most times, you have to put that money up. With Chinago, yeah. But you know what I mean? When you see that adamant and saying like, you know, they want the money, just say, all right then, it's worth a try. Here you go, there's the money. But they don't do that. And I think that right, and they come back to us and I think that selling us this story, and they've been doing it time and time and time and time again. And then we get in positions that we nearly win things. Yeah, we don't win it because we're a player too short.
Always, it's always the case,
and it's always the case on FSG. And the fact is, today, right, FSG, and this is how they're going to treat us at the day, right? They're going to treat us like idiots. They've got their people at the day, right? Yeah, like Anfield crap and all them sort of people there, right? They've got their people that work for the for Liverpool, and they will put out what they want to tell, what they get told, yeah. Because at the day, right, if they don't, they won't be allowed in the press conference. They won't be allowed to go on tour with them. They won't get the exclusive interviews with the players. Do you know what I mean? So they will do all that. Do you know what I mean? Whilst us true fans at the day, right, that's stuck with Liverpool with all their BS that they've given us throughout the years, yeah, we're the ones that suffer.
Yeah,
we're the ones that suffer. Do you know what I mean?
You have to be honest. You gotta say what's real. You can't just sugarcoat it because it's your club. If your club's doing something wrong, you got to say out loud. Like that's why that was the whole point of me doing my show today, because I had to get things off my chest. Because for me, it's like, look, we're mid-August right now. It's the 14th now.
Yeah.
And this was the only player that we were seriously linked with. And if we were really serious about it, we would have got it done, because you would have done the groundwork to know if the player wants to leave. And apparently he was willing to move to the club.
Yeah.
But then you took your time, or you wasted their time to negotiate a deal when a release clause was already in place. How do you negotiate a deal when there's a release clause there? Like, you don't do that. That's stupid. I don't think any club does that. Like,
Richard Hughes is supposed to be a genius, isn't he? He's supposed to be a genius. He's supposed to be a notebook that's got all these links and all that.
I prefer the other guy. What's that guy? Schmacker. I prefer him. He was doing a much better job than this guy.
If Schmacker was here, that deal would have
paid that release clause. Yeah.
He'd have paid the release clause, or he'd have walked away from earlier.
Yeah. And just move on to the next target.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember something Benitez said sort of like years ago? Right? It was after a player. I can't remember who it was, but it was after a player. And this person was in an R and this and that. And Benitez said, look, I just want to know what's going on. Yeah. So if he doesn't want to come, I can move on to other targets, because we've got other targets that we can look at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then that kind of like made that guy like make a decision to come to Liverpool. I think it was Fernando Morientes, Morientes. And it was him, and it was like Real Madrid was messing about and this and that. I said, look, Wagwan, he's like, basically today, is he coming up? Because we've got other targets we can look at. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, it's like, how much time do you waste on a player? Do you know what I mean? And if this player and the day says no to you, you should be in that. If you're a person and that's probably more likely supposed to have bare links, and then you're a genius, you know, notebook and this and that, right? Which we know is cap. You know what I mean? Yeah,
100%.
yeah, it's cap. It's just another way of trying to. It's not. It's just another way of Michael Edwards trying to justify getting this cretin in.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
he's championship and League One level. He's probably got enough links at that level, but he ain't got no links over here. You got.
Do you know
no
what I've
links
heard?
here.
I've heard he's got links in Italy because he's from there, so he lives
Yeah,
there.
he's from
He was raised there, isn't it?
He grew up there because
He grew up, I think, because his dad worked for Penguin Books, so he lived in Italy quite a bit. So he played for Atalanta as well in his youth days.
Wasn't he with their? He was with the academy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was with the academy. So
he was with the academy. He grew up with the academy
as well. So he's probably got the eye for talent there, and he's got maybe connections there. But the thing is, we haven't been linked with anyone from Serie A. The only player we were linked to was Edison, and I don't know if there's any truth to it now.
The other one as well, isn't it? The defender for Inter Milan.
Oh. Bastoni.
Yeah, Bastoni. Was linked with him.
Is it?
Yeah, we was linked with him. That's what I was saying that day. Like, you know, he should be able to pull it off because he's got that Italian link. He's got that
connections.
Link.
His connections aren't there, man. If he had the connections, then Bastoni would be here. But Bastoni is the dream signing.
I've got more connections than him. I'm not a sporting director. You know what I mean? No, he's got no connection because, like, listen, check this now. Zubimendi's agent is the same agent that deals with Areola. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, Richard Hughes got Areola into Bournemouth.
So that's the same agent as Xabi Alonso as well.
Right. Now, if he's supposed to be kind of friendly with his agent, right? Shouldn't a deal got over the line? Because you got that deal over the line with Areola. So what's wrong with this? Yeah. It's clearly at the end of the day, right? It's like, you know, the only reason he knows that agent is because at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, obviously he went for Areola and he had to go through this guy to get Areola. That's the only reason. He just knows it. He's not like, they're not tight, they're not bridging, they don't break bread together, nothing. You know what I mean? You know, it's just something like, because when it comes down to it, you couldn't even get that deal over the line. Yeah, you couldn't even get it over the line. I'm telling you, we've got some B-Tech people involved in Liverpool at the moment, and that's how FSG want it. They want it because a lot of people don't realize it today, right? When they got Klopp in, they didn't realize how good Klopp was going to be. They didn't realize how good he's going to be. They didn't know he could turn water into wine. Yeah, you know what I mean, didn't realize that. And when they saw what he's doing in that, right, they started to sort of like say, "Rah, you know what?" And then right, what we're gonna do, and this is what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna make it look like we're backing him, but we're not backing him because we don't want to spend no money. You know? Yeah. Just 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so we don't want to spend the money. That's all it is. That's all it is, my friend. That's all it is.
And this club, they showed no ambition, and that is the frustrating thing for me. They showed no ambition whatsoever. And you know what you were saying earlier on in terms of when we achieve Champions League football, and then the next year we don't achieve it. For them, it's a tick box. If you get Champions League, the revenue is coming through. So there's no huge difference in terms of what position you finish. As long as you have Champions League football, that's when you get the revenue. So for them,
that's what I'm trying to say. They don't want to spend no money.
Yeah, they don't want to spend it. They want to make it.
Yeah, as long as they're in the Champions League group stage, that's why they want to do that Super Six, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
They want to do that Super Six because then there's no promotion, no relegation, so they don't have to spend no money. So they was all up for that. Even like Real Madrid and Barcelona was up for that because they realized that then, well, we ain't gonna have to spend any money anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so this is where they're at. Yeah. You know what I mean? I said that the day when this transfer window started. I said that the day I wouldn't be surprised, if Liverpool don't buy anybody this transfer window. And I thought, so let me give them the benefit. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Yeah. Right. and see if they to see if they buy anybody. So I did the sort of like shows that there was Zubimendi and such. Do you understand me? Yeah. But then like our friend Fuzzy, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was finishing work yesterday, he called me and said, "Yeah, you want to jump on my stream and for that." I goes, "All right, give me 25 minutes till I get home when I jump on the stream." Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I jumped on and I saw like the picture said like Zubimendi and they sort of like rejects Liverpool. I said, great.
It's no surprise.
I wasn't surprised because I was gonna say on his stream anyway. This is what I was gonna say on his stream. Why is it always a fiasco when we want to sign a player? You know what I mean?
Why can't it be straightforward?
Yeah. Why can't it just be straightforward? Bam, get the player, you come. I couldn't remember the last time at the day that we had a straightforward freaking transfer. Why is it when we identify a certain player that is a good player and he can change our team? Why is it always a fiasco? Why is it always?
Another thing as well, a lot of our deals, well, I'll say in recent history, some of the deals that we've done in like the last couple of years have been based off other clubs showing interest in that player.
Yeah.
So Luis Diaz was close to going to Tottenham. Gakpo was getting interest from Manchester United.
Yeah,
these guys only react when they need to react.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Like, is this like a different kind of culture where they get complacent when when they're on top and stuff? I don't know what it is because
they don't have to run a club.
They don't have to run a club. You've got to think 2-3 steps ahead. You can't just think in the moment. They don't plan for the future, and that's a concern for me going forward. And it's going to be a long season.
It's going to be a long season because what's going to happen at the day, right? You're going to find out with all these players that they're playing out of position. You know what I mean? To accommodate sort of like accommodate this sixth role because Graham Gert is going to be played out of position. So Boslite is going to be played out of position. Curtis Jones is going to be played out of position. What's going to happen? Because they're doing all this running. Because they're doing all this running it down when it's that running it down now. They're going to get burnt out and they're going to get injured. That's what's going to happen. And they're going to realize that the most logical thing would be to just get a 6. Don't matter how much it costs, just get a 6. So what they would rather do at the end of the day, this is why they don't know nothing about football and don't know nothing about running a football club. Because they would rather at the end of the day, right, burn out their players, get mass injuries than actually fill in that position with the right player for that position. They rather do that's what they rather do. You think at the end of the day when like that season when we won the league. Yeah, we won league, and the following season, and you looked at all the players, and they were burnt out. They were literally burnt out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's the time at the day you were supposed to strengthen, but you never. So that shows me at the day, right? Your knowledge of like running a football club and a football club in itself, you've got no knowledge.
Yeah,
because if you can not see, when you're at the top. You strengthen to stay at the top, and when you can't see it, then the players that got you to top, right, are slowly burnt out, and you're gonna need other players at the day to sort of like to help them out, fresh players, fresh legs on the field, right. When you can't see that, and those are the times that you really get players for a good price.
Yeah.
If you can't see that, well, why are you running a football club? Is it just because you want to make money? It's just to make money and to further your prestige? Because the more things you got underneath your banner, the more better it's for you. The guy from the Boston Red Sox, they said on Copperchit and day, right? The same thing that's happening to you is the same thing that happened to us.
Over there.
That's still happening to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what? When do we say as fans, when do we say as fans, enough is enough? When do we say as fans that these guys need to go, really,
Yeah.
When do we say that without getting criticised? I said it I said about Arnie Slot and that he ain't got enough experience to be at a club, which is true, evidently true. Everybody can see that, and everybody come for me. They came
But
from
you're
young
not
to
wrong. He doesn't have experience, so you're not wrong. But it's just one of those things where that's your opinion right now. Does that make sense? So obviously he will gain that experience in the future, but you're not wrong. He doesn't have the experience.
Yeah, but
he hasn't managed the league club.
Yeah, he's going to gain experience. He's going to gain experience at the expense of Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? At the expense of Liverpool. Do you know what I'm saying? And that can't work for me. And that can't work for, or hopefully it can't work for a lot of people.
But I think if we had a better sporting director, then I don't think we'd feel it as much. Because right now,
yeah, you got a point. You got a point. You got a point.
As of yet, for me, seems incompetent that he hasn't got a deal done yet. So if he got the deals that we wanted, then Arne Slot might not have that pressure. Now there's more pressure on Arne Slot now.
Yeah,
he's already had more pressure anyway because of Jurgen Klopp. He's trying to take over one of the best managers we've ever had in our history. He's got a big shoes to fill. But if we had a good sporting director that knew what they were doing and they signed the players that we needed, he wouldn't feel that pressure because then
you're right. You're right.
I'm fully equipped. Let's start the season now.
And if anything that happens, all the sporting director has to say, well, look, I've given you the tools to do the job.
Yes, exactly.
It's down to you, mate.
And then, then the whole thing about him not having experience is more validated because it makes sense now. Maybe he's not even experienced. Maybe he's not at that level. Maybe he's not an elite coach. But as of yet, it's a bit uncertain because he's a new manager, so we can't say much. But the sporting director is not helping the situation.
He's not even sporting director. Is even not on that level. What I'm saying, Amron, as I said before, I've got nothing against Amron. But what it is today, right? Where you've coached AZ Akmal, you've coached them, and I think I don't know if he won something with them, but he coached them.
He was close to winning the league, but that was the year when COVID happened, so they cancelled the whole league. So he was actually like 1 point away from top. So that year he could have won the league with AZ Akmal. So
and he's gone to he went to Feyenoord and won a cup of Feyenoord. But the thing is about he
won the league as well in the following year.
No, he's only won it once.
He won the cup and then he won the league, I think, the following year. So he's only won 2 trophies.
He must have won the cup with no, you know what it is?
Yeah.
I think he won the league. Hold on. No, you're right. He won the league with Feyenoord, and then his last season he won the cup. Yeah. But like the fact in the levels between like the Dutch league and sort of like the Premiership is huge. It's huge. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say today. That I would have rather, him like after like he's done that in Holland. I would have rather him gone to Germany, tried his trade in Germany. Do you know what I mean? Before he probably come to Liverpool. At least I can say it and they will look. And he's done this in the Dutch league and he's also done this in Germany, which Germany probably is up a couple of levels up from the Dutch league. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like the only thing I had against him is that he didn't have the experience to follow something like Jurgen Klopp. He didn't really have the experience to take on this big sort of like this big mantra, because this is, regardless of what anybody thinks, and don't let anybody fool you, to be at the helm of Liverpool is a big, massive job. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I think at the end of the day, sort of like to follow something like Klopp, which is to me at the end of the day, he's the best manager in the world. You know what I mean? I will say that he's the best manager in the world, from what he had to do, right? To follow someone like him, you needed a bit more experience to do that. But I think
that was always going to be an impossible task.
Yeah,
I don't think there was
it's going to be impossible. Like if you had,
even if we got Alonso, there were still question marks on Alonso because obviously he won the league. Obviously, he won the treble there, didn't he? So it was always going to be double. So it was always going to be a big challenge because
would you be more sure? Would you be like? I mean, to me,
only because he's a former player, so he understands the club, he understands the city, he understands the fans. So coming to Liverpool wouldn't be a daunting task, if that makes sense, because he's been there as a player, so he would have been well equipped to be a manager there.
But even that, even that, even sorry to cut across it, even
Yeah.
Amron, I would have
Yeah.
been more sure to him because what it is, as a player, he done well, but then he went to Braga and they took Braga and they from sort of like for nothing and got him to win, win a cup. Do you know what I mean? Beating Sporting Lisbon and then in the final. Do you know what I mean? Then Sporting Lisbon took him away. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And in his first season with Sporting Lisbon, he won the league. Do you know what I mean? He won the league with Sporting Lisbon. I think, he had a spat with what it was. He had a spat with Braga. Basically, and they started off as like the academy coach. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was impressed with him, and they bumped him up to first team coach. And
he didn't have the license or something, didn't he?
Yeah, and when he got the license, they bumped him up to the first team.
First team coach.
And he won he won the thing, didn't he? He won the cup. He won the Portuguese cup.
The League Cup,
yeah, and beating Sporting Lisbon in the final, right?
Yeah.
And then Sporting Lisbon took him, right? The following season, he beat Sporting. He beat Sporting Lisbon, won the league.
Yeah.
The next season, they come second, but they won a cup. And then the season before last, that was his only bad season. I think he finished 4th or 5th or something like that. I mean, at the European spot. I think he got to the European Cup or something like that. But then obviously the season just gone now. Yeah. He done the double. He won the Portuguese Cup and he won the league. Do you know what I mean? So when you get somebody in that comes in like that, it gives you a bit more sort of like a surety. You kind of feel a bit more thing. You know what I mean? You think so, well, you know, this guy could be good. But when you get someone like Amron that hasn't really at the end of the day got that much experience, and he's actually been in the league at the end of the day, less technical than the rest. Do you know what I mean? You kind of worry. You kind of worry. So that was my only thing with Amron. As him as a person, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But what you're saying is true. Even if he didn't have the experience, if he had sort of like a manager there, right, that's got sort of not manager, sporting director that's got like knows what he's doing. He can get the cream of the crop, right? Yeah. I think Amron's job would have been a lot more easier, and he could probably accomplish more than what he is now. But when you got someone like Richard Hughes in, that his levels are Championship and League One. I'm sorry, I don't care anybody says his levels are Championship and League One, right? How's he expected in the day to sort of like learn? If you're gonna get B-Tech players, and the players that he does want, that's gonna make him sort of like, you know, learn, when he's not gonna get.
It's true, because when Richard Hughes was appointed, I didn't know too much about him, if I'm being honest. And then when they showed his track record in terms of who he signed and stuff, a lot of them were Liverpool players, so that didn't help the situation. But also,
I know, innit?
They were like Solanke, Brad Smith, all those guys, but there weren't any high-profile names. So it wasn't like he did an amazing job for Bournemouth, if that makes sense. The manager that they appointed last year, I think, was their biggest coup, because he was a very highly rated manager in Spain, and it would have been expected for him to come to a club like Bournemouth, respectively. So, for me, looking back at all of this now,
he's with Sociedad, you know
honest,
that? Huh? You know that man Areola. He played
for
Sociedad.
Sociedad,
he played for Sociedad, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So, for me, I feel like the honest lot one, I'm gonna give him the benefit of that because he's a young coach, and we were always going to get that kind of coach where it wasn't going to be a big name, because there aren't that many big name coaches out there for us to appoint anyway. So it was always going to be either Arne Slot or Amorim from Sport Lisbon. But Amorim, guess why we didn't get him? Because we didn't want to pay the release clause. He had the release clause as well. We don't pay release clauses here. It's just not in our nature. We don't do it. We negotiate, and they don't want to negotiate. So that's another thing.
I know it's jarring, because it's like you know, you go to Petticoat Lane, the Petticoat Lane Market, you know Petticoat Lane, innit?
Yeah.
Right? And you go Petticoat Lane, right? And you go to the they got the leather market, name, all the leather coats and all them sort of thing there,
leather
right?
jackets, yeah.
Leather jackets and so forth.
Mm.
You never pay the right price. You never pay the right price. You always haggle with a man. Say, yo, when they say £100, you want to give them 60 or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, not every place is not every place is a petticoat lane.
Can't go Tesco and do that now, can you?
That's can't go Safeway or Waitrose.
That bread's £2. I'll give you 20p for that bread. Like, no, the price tag is on there. You gotta buy what it says. FSU think everything's a market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I'm not feeling that, man. I'm not feeling it.
Wild,
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, today, right? They've been doing this for a long time now, but it has to come to a time where we as fans say enough's enough. We're not taking this anymore. We're not taking this anymore. And I feel that until us fans and they sort of like saying, no, this is wrong. You know what I mean? They're gonna carry on doing what they're doing. Look at Man United. They did that protest one time with the Glazers, and ever since then, right, the Glazers can't put a foot wrong. Really, when you think about it, because they're getting players. It's not as if they ain't getting players. If they want players, they're getting players.
Yeah. It's just like they're getting the wrong players. That's the only thing. In the past, they've always signed the wrong players, the same names. But at least the club showed a bit of ambition to sign high-profile players. But for Liverpool, it's a rare occasion where we sign a high-profile player. So,
they paid the money, and the things about it. They're even talking about doing a swap deal with Ugarte. Doing a swap deal with Ugarte, sort of like Ugarte comes to Man United, and then Jadon Sancho goes to PSG.
Is that what they're saying now?
Yeah, talking about that. They're looking at something like that. They're looking to pull that off, right? If they can pull that, that's 5 players they bought, and we ain't bought nothing. You know what I mean? We're the only team so far. I think we're the only team
we haven't signed anyone.
The leagues across Europe and that matter. We're the only team that hasn't bought anybody. So what's going to happen? Excuse me. What's going to happen? Right? Is they're going to sort of like bump? They're going to put money on because they know they're desperate. Why never wait till August to start buying players? You know what I mean? You need to when you get in August, you need to have bought at least 1 or 2 players, at least, right?
Yeah.
So they know that you're not desperate. You know what I'm saying? What it is with Liverpool? They will just walk away through ignorance and arrogance. We don't pay that price. They walk away with that, so that they cut their nose off to spite their face. One of them ones. You know
I'll be honest. There's elements of our fan base that are like that as well. Where because we're Liverpool, we just expect to just get who we want. Like when we were linked to Zubimendi, everyone's like, just to even say we were linked with him, they were like, he's our player. You can't just say he's our player. We ain't even negotiated terms with him. So how can he be our player? If people are singing songs about him already, like the guy hasn't even come into Liverpool yet, and you're singing songs about him. Like, come on.
There's a thing. I was watching one of the content creators, and I think this is when sort of like Zubimendi was thinking about it. He said he didn't think about it and blah blah blah. He shouldn't have to think about it. He should just come to Liverpool. We're Liverpool Football Club. You don't turn Liverpool. I go, it don't work like that. You're living in the past. You're literally living in the past. I mean,
well, they're not even from England. So when you got to sell a project to someone, you've got to paint the whole picture about how important they are, where they stand in the team, and what the vision is for the future. It's a project. You can't just say, "Oh, we're Liverpool, come to Liverpool," because they're not just like League 2 players. They are players that are playing for top flight football. He's just won the Euros with Spain, so he knows he's going to have that attention to get acquired by another team. But he clearly didn't want to leave his boyhood club. He's rejected Barcelona, who are one of the biggest teams in his country. He didn't want to go there. He's rejected Bayern. He's rejected Arsenal. There's interest from Man United as well. So clearly the guy didn't want to leave the club. So
we sold him. We sold him a project. We sold him a project. And by all sense and purposes, and he said yes, he wanted to come. Right. Yeah. So what it was, and this is where Liverpool messed up, and they tried to haggle. They didn't want to pay the release clause. They didn't want to pay because what it was, they wanted the release clause money up front. They didn't want no payments or this and that, right? They want the release clause up front. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that. They're trying to haggle with a payment plan and this and that. Now,
Yeah.
what it was with Zubimendi, he must have thought, so, well, you man ain't serious. Look at the name. Look at the name. Look how many teams are rejected. Yeah, right.
Yes.
And like, and now I want to come to you. You're telling what you're saying, like you want to haggle and it's that. No, I'll stay where I am.
I think that definitely played a part,
Of
because
course.
if we really wanted a player, we would have been like, here's 51 million.
Yeah, just
Send
take
him
it.
our way. But because we're like haggling, he's like, oh, these guys aren't serious. Like, do they really want me? If they're negotiating deals with, they don't really want me. And I'm leaving my family, I'm leaving my friends, my whole life here.
Yeah.
They don't really want me. What am I doing that for?
No,
So that's exactly what's happened.
If you're gonna sell, if you're gonna sell a car, yeah, and you've had like a couple of offers for the car, but they don't meet your sort of like validation, yeah, right?
You're not gonna accept.
Then somebody comes up and says like, you know, that they want to buy your car and they're gonna pay the money and for that, right? So you say, all right, then all right, let's do it. But they want to discuss a payment plan with you. You're gonna say, piss off. And yeah, you're gonna say, piss off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a private sale, isn't it? Like,
yeah, you're gonna say, well, it's either you pay me the money and take the car, or you bounce. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what it was with Liverpool. The fact that the day, right, like Arsenal came to them at the day, right, tried to sell them a project, yeah, that wasn't working, yeah. Man United was the same. Barcelona at the day, right. The reason why he rejected Barcelona, because Barcelona ain't really got no money to that, yeah, right. So rejected them. He rejected these clubs, right? Yeah, but he must have thought. Well, they must have sold it to him, and they say you're definitely going to get bigger games, because we got like 4 competitions in our country. You're definitely going to get a lot of minutes and blah de blah de blah. Yeah, you're going to do that. Yeah, that's going to happen with you, right? They sold him a good project at the day, right? And he was thought, you know what? I think I'm on that, you know. Plus at the day, mate, we got Spanish people in that. We got Spanish people speaking people in the club, mate. So you'll be fine, man. We got Argentinians, we got Colombians here.
Yeah,
we
got Spanish and Portuguese speaking players in the club. It would have been easier for him to settle in. Yeah,
we got them here, mate. We got them here. They even have sort of like siestas and all that, so you'll be all right. Yeah. So basically, what it is, right? We got it all here. So he must have thought, you know what? Big man tinging, I'm gonna go, you know. Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. So he's informed the club, said, yeah, I want to go to England, I want to go to Liverpool for them. He goes, all right then. But they need to pay the money up front. So they've gone back to sort of like Liverpool and said to Liverpool, you need to pay the 51 million up front. Oh, can we do a payment plan? Oh, wait until we sell Carvalho. They said, oh, piss off. They said, piss off.
Oh, that's gonna bite us. I'd love to say, you know, we'll learn from this, but we never do. And there's been history that we don't learn from this sort of situation where, you know, you meet, like last year we met the release clause for Caicedo, but we never spoke to the player. So there was never, because he was pursued by Chelsea for a long time, his head was always Chelsea bound, if that makes sense. And the Lavia one, he was first choice. We put him on the shelf for Caicedo. Went back for him. He's like, jog on. Like, you wanted me first. Now I'm second choice. I'm not coming.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, these are human beings as well. You got to treat them with a bit of respect.
Come on now, man. Seriously.
I think they dropped the ball, and even just to release information about the deal as well, I think that's just a schoolboy error from the Richard Hughes or however you want to phrase it.
And he's supposed to be the genius in it in transfers, isn't he?
Well, look, he's got 18. He's got about 17 days to make up for that now, because there are players out there. There are players. I'm not buying this that is Zubimendi or nothing. There are players out there that we can
go to Atalanta by Emerson.
Get Edison. There's Varela, who I highlight there. Varela's a very good player. He can do a job.
You know what? I think Emerson's a better player than Zubimendi.
Edison, yeah,
I think he's Emerson. Edison, is it Edison or Emerson?
Edison.
Yeah, Edison. I think he's a better player than Zubimendi.
Yeah,
I think he's a better player than him. So why don't you turn your attention? This is what the thing is about it, Oz, right? This is what they should be saying in the first place. Should be saying that what you doing, mate? Yeah, what are you doing? Because we got other targets we can look at. Stick it on him like that. Stick it on him like that. Making no sense. They right. Listen, brother, we're not gonna wait around for you, you know. Yeah, what are you doing? You know what I mean? If he said like, nah, I don't know. Listen, bye, and just go and get another player. That's what they would have done on the club. Yeah, and if you go far,
100%.
Yeah, if you can go far back as Benitez, yeah, that's what they would have done on the Benitez. Yeah. But no, you got this guy, you got this B-Tech, bloody sporting director in there, right? That's supposed to be the Notebook, you know what I mean? Yeah. What, the film Notebook? That love story Notebook? Is that what you're talking about? Actually, it was a good film, actually, you know. That was a good film. I watched that film. That's a good film, actually. I feel it's bad, you know. True story as well, you know. Notebook. It's a true story. It's a bad film, man. You know what I mean? But do you know what I mean, though? Do you know what I'm saying, though? You're supposed to be the shizzle and nothing like that, right? And so far, you're not filling up with confidence. So far, I'm sorry.
Not at all. I'm going to go through some of the comments here before we wrap up. Let's have a look here. So it's Shibuki says, like and subscribe. This is one of the best Liverpool channels. Big up yourself. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate that. And then Philip says, big up Roz and Ozzy. Big up yourself, Philip. Thank you for your comment and thank you for tuning in as well. Got a comment here from Trap Joy says, you got to be patient. I think some sign will happen before the deadline. Look, as I mentioned earlier on, there's a part of me that feels like there is work happening behind the scenes, but because of our track record, there's also a possibility that it might not happen. So I'm trying to stay positive, but you've got to kind of like cover all scenarios just to not to like feel too much disappointment at the end, because if you already sort of analyzed everything, you know that there's a possibility it might not happen. So you won't feel as annoyed. We'll still be annoyed, but not as annoyed after the window closes. But we'll see. We've still got about 2 to 3 weeks, so let's see how it goes. Trap Joe also says Slot and Edwards want the right players, not any random players who would fit the system. Yeah, I know they probably analyze in terms of having certain profiles, but it can't be one player or nothing. That's not how it works. It's got to be, because looking at Zubimendi, it's quite clear that Arne Slot wants a deep playmaker, someone that is actually a technical defensive midfielder. There's plenty of them around, so can't tell me there isn't anyone available.
Could be looking at 10.
Yeah.
And don't you think you got to be looking at, if you want that specific kind of player, you got to be looking at 10 players. At 100%. At least 10 players you got to be looking at. That's what I think.
Yeah. You've got to list them up. So it can't just be one or nothing. Like there will be certain players that you come across and you're like, that's the one. Like, for example, when they scouted Van Dijk, even those times when I saw Van Dijk for Southampton, I was like, that's the defender I want. So there are certain players you hold out for. And we did it in the end. And obviously it's come to our fruition that we've got a world-class defender. But in this area, I don't think Zubimendi is that elite where there's no one else that can rival his ability. I think there's plenty of players out there that share his same sort of capabilities or might even have a bit more to his game. Like I analyzed Varela earlier on, similar type of player, but has a bit more to his game.
Yeah, he got
in Argentina, they compare him to Mascherano, but he's got more ball playing ability. That's the difference. So, and obviously having McAllister in our team already, 2 Argentinian in a double pivot, it makes sense.
Stop it.
He's available for around 55 million. So 4 million more. So you got 20 million from Cavallo.
Get McAllister to chat to him and knock some money off.
And they both play for Boca Juniors. I don't think they play at the same time, but they're from the same Argentinian club as well. So
yeah, it's from the same camp.
Yeah, so
I was gonna actually ask where is he from? Because sometimes these Portuguese people have like Spanish kind of names, don't they? You know what I mean?
No, so he's Argentinian. So Uncle Roz, we were linked with him last summer. We could have bought him for 8 million.
Don't say that.
Honestly, we were. That's how I've been aware of him for about 2 years because there was a lot of like rave reviews about him. So when I hear a name, I always like watch a live match or I see compilations and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? He looks decent, you know. And then when the summer came, we were linked to him thinking, oh, do you know what? Our scouts do know what they're doing. They are finding the right
Yeah.
gems and all that sort of stuff. But we didn't want to pay the price. And this is what
Oh,
happens.
8
We don't pay
million.
the price. We didn't want to pay before it might have been too much of a gamble. So what happens with these guys is they find the players in South America, but I think they just check their development, and
Yeah.
when they make the transition to Europe, that's when they sign them because they're like, oh, they've come to Europe,
Yeah.
they've climatized to how European football is being played, they're ready made. Let's get them now. Whereas you could have got them for cheaper, bring them to your club, they would have had to climatize anyway if they came to
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah,
Does that
yeah,
make sense?
yeah,
So
yeah.
why let another club do it when you could do it yourself and do it in your methodology as well, if that makes sense? So
Even Man City got you. Even Man City, look, they bought that guy Julian Alvarez for 15 million,
exactly.
yeah, right?
Yeah,
And it probably didn't work out the way that he wanted it to.
yeah.
But look, they sold it to Atletico Madrid, right?
80
And they made
mil,
a
right?
whopping profit off him.
Yeah. He was a lethal player for River Plate as well, you know. So
What?
yeah, he was a lethal player. So this is the thing. This is the trick that we're missing. We're not doing these things. So it will cost us, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
hopefully, someone puts something in their mind. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Double D, big up Double D as always. He says, I'm more worried about Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah contracts. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to put no, energy out there in the universe. But the Trent one, that concerns me. I'm not gonna lie. The Trent one really concerns me. The Van Dijk one doesn't concern me much. However, if we don't sign players in this window, he's going to see it as this club is not ambitious anymore. And then that will actually sway his decision in the future. And regards to Salah, how has Salah got 1 more year or is it 2 more years left?
1 more year. He's got 1 more year.
1 more year. So he could leave as well. Why wouldn't he leave? He's got Saudi waiting for him right now. He'll go to Saudi. He'll get so if he doesn't see, it'll be the same as Van Dijk. If the ambition's not there, then he'll leave because he's at an age where he could play for another European club, but at the same time, why not just go to Saudi and make your money? Well, it's a money-driven world, isn't it? So why not?
Yeah, standard.
No, crazy. Trap Joe says they're looking for players who really want to be part of LFC. Well, according to what we heard, Zubimendi really wanted to come to LFC, but we didn't want to pay the release clause. So it goes hand in hand as well. We've got to show that same attitude for that player. Otherwise, the player's not going to feel appreciated and they won't make that move to the club either. So it has to go hand in hand. And then WC said they were level on points with Ajax when COVID came. They actually beat Ajax 2-0 literally the weekend before. That's crazy. Yeah. So they were level on points. They were second, but they were level on points. Yeah. So that could have been the season that Arne Slot could have had another league title to his name there. And then WC also says Amorim plays 3 at the back. Board went on it, felt the squad, and would transition better to Klopp. That makes sense as well, to be fair, because I think if we had played a back 3, I think that would have required more reinforcements to the squad. And look at the squad right now, we're not even trying to sign players. So if that was the system we were playing, then we would probably have had to have signed at least 2 more defenders. Plus,
yeah, they didn't want to do it. You know what it was? It's like if there was to bring Armour in, Amron wouldn't want money to bolster his squad. I mean, he wants what is it that he wanted full control of, like obviously what's coming in, and they didn't want to do that. So again, what they've done, and they cut their nose off to spite their face. Simple as, do you know what I mean? You know, now they've got something. They've got like a head coach, which is cheaper. He was something like 9 million. You had to pay him 9 million and 2 million for his coaching staff. And even then, at the day, he didn't have a proper coaching staff. He's just getting people in as and when he went along. Do you understand what I'm saying? And one day, the day they took their time and then they announcing Arne Slot, giving obviously the full press conference because they didn't didn't have a proper coaching staff. But some of the guys, all the guys that day that Klopp had that build up, they left with Klopp.
Yeah.
They left with Klopp, right? And then when Amron come in, some of the guys that were supposed to come with him didn't come. Because remember, what's that? Van Persie. Van Persie was supposed to come with him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he was a coach at finals, wasn't he?
Yeah,
One
he
of
was
the coaches,
supposed to come. Yeah, he was supposed to come. He never come. There's another guy that couldn't get his work permit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the goalkeeping coach. I think it was.
Right. So then they had to sort of like get there's a few more other people that couldn't come over. He couldn't get. So then he got some new people in, like Johnny Heitner and this person and that person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like his coaching staff at the day was only 2 million anyway.
Yeah.
Amro's package at the day was 20 million, and that would include his coaching staff and so forth. You know what I mean? And plus, obviously, he wanted money on top. And like, FSG wasn't that ambitious to do that. They didn't want to go down that route. That's what it was.
Ambition is not in their vocabulary.
Yeah, it's not the fact that they want to play. He want to play free at the back, because even under Klopp, he's played free at the back. Do you know what I mean? They've done that before, so it's not no sort of like, even in the pre-season and Arne Slot played free at the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's constantly changed up the formation. So it's not something that's alien to sort of like Liverpool. And most of the times when they have played free at the back, Liverpool have played free at the back, they've looked better playing free at the back, because it accommodates mans like Robertson and Trent. It accommodates them.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, it's true. It's true. You've got Exeter, who says Hughes made good signings for Bournemouth.
Right.
I'd love to let us know which players you would regard as good signings. Obviously the manager was a coup, and they got Justin Kluivert, but his career was kind of up and down anyway, so he wasn't such a high profile signing. Solanke, when we had him, we bought him as a youth player from Chelsea on a free. So we kind of finessed that and got 19 million from him.
I know we did.
Yeah, he didn't kick a ball. I think he made a few cameos for us, but he didn't really play for us. So
he scored one goal in about 30 odd games or something like that.
Yeah. Ake, I guess Ake, what you can say was a good signing, but he wasn't like an unknown commodity. We all knew him from Chelsea anyway, so
he didn't really do much at Bournemouth, really. Do you know the only player that they brought, I can say that was good, was the that guy Lerma, the Colombian Lerma.
Oh yeah, he was decent.
He was decent. He was decent. Yeah, went to Palace, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was decent. Lerma was decent. Even when he played in the Copa America, he looked decent there, man.
No, he's a baller. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's decent.
Double D says Iraola played for Bilbao. Okay, fair enough.
Who?
Iraola, the Bournemouth manager. He's saying.
Right. I knew it was Basque Country. He was from. You know what I mean? Because that's all.
Yeah, Double D, the knowledge there. Yeah. Jamie Phillips Football Chat says, big up, fella. Big up yourself, Jamie. Appreciate you commenting. Appreciate you tuning in. And then Fozzie says, yes, it's a big up, brother. Big up to you, Fozzie. Thank you for tuning in as well. And then Double D, I think this was the point about Ruben Amorim saying, yep, he wanted full control. They just wanted a head coach. So, yes, that's where we are right now. We've got a head coach, but we've got a sporting director that, as it stands, I might be saying
he could direct traffic.
As it stands, and I might be saying it too strongly, seems a bit incompetent to me. You can't pay a release clause. But look, I'll give him 18 days to try and figure it out. And hopefully we can get something done. But Uncle Roz, thank you for coming on. As always, appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm sure we're going to have some more chats. We'll probably do another one before the window closes or just after the window closes, because then we can kind of like wrap up in terms of what we spoke about today. Hopefully we might. I'd love for us to, take our words, but you know what? Richard Hughes is the notebook. He's that guy. We were wrong. I'd love for us to say that, but let's see. Let's see how it is.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know I've frozen in the day, but I didn't want to you start my computer, so I thought I'd just
That's all good,
go,
man.
go
Appreciate
for
it.
it, go for it still. But like, listen, I always love coming in the show. I mean,
Appreciate it, bro.
yeah, you work incredibly hard on your channel. Do you know what I
Thank
mean? I
you.
want everybody to like and subscribe to your channel, support you, and get you to where you should be. Do you know what I mean? Because you work extremely hard. You got good footballing knowledge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even going to mention my channel because it's all about your channel. Do you know what I mean?
Plug your channel as well. This is a
No man,
community.
no man. It's all about your channel. It's all about your channel.
Appreciate it, bro.
It's all about you growing and you growing as an individual, man. Trust me. You know what I mean? I can mention my channel any other time. Do you know what I mean? But it's just all about your channel. I'm a guest on your channel. So I think it's only right to big up your channel and show some support because you work incredibly hard on your channel. I know it for a fact. You only want, your man's at the day doing streams at the 11:30 night and stuff like that. I know, but you're working hard, man. You're working hard still. You know what I mean?
I had to get some things off my chest, Uncle Rods. I had too much in my mind. I had to just it was too much for me. I'm like, I need to just it's like therapy, innit? You gotta just let it out sometimes. So yeah, it had to be done.
And you should come on Fuzzy's channel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Fuzzy, I will be inviting you guys on my shows in due course. I'm going to try and do a lot more content, man. So yeah, you guys are always welcomed on the channel as always. So yeah, appreciate it as always.
Oh mate, listen, I'll be on your channel anytime that you call me. I'll be on your channel because, as I said, it's not as if you don't know about football. You know about football, and the debates I have with you are very, very good. So yeah, listen, all due respect, love and respect, man. And just keep up the good work and don't let the bastards grind us down. Simple as that. No, it's true though, isn't it? It's true.
It's true. I appreciate it. It's true. I appreciate it. Thank you as always, Uncle Rods.
I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna reset my computer. But listen, love and respect to you, and love and respect to your family as well. Yeah, big up, man.
You too. Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Take care.
Yeah, take care, bro. Take care. Let's go read some of the comments here that are remaining. So, Steve YNWA, which is obviously you never walk alone, said, "Let's go, champ. Let's go, indeed." Madison, big up Madison as always. He says, "As fans, are we a little too pressed for wanting numerous signings? Most business is done in the summer, but do you think that was what Slot was brought in for? Someone who could work with less?" Yeah, you have a point in terms of that last part. Someone that could work with less because he's been hired as a coach and not as a manager. So that's two different things. So people might not understand the different sort of terminologies. It's just like, it's just a name. It's just a job title. The job title has different role responsibilities as well at the same time. So being a head coach, you are just coaching the players that you have in front of you. It's not about you having too much input on recruitment. You can make suggestions to say, do you know what, I really like this player. I think he'll do really well for us. That message will go to a committee and then they'll have a discussion. They'll check the data or the metrics and all that stuff. And then they'll get a response. Say, yep, you're right. Let's get him on board. But it's a group decision rather than him having that final call, if that makes sense. He doesn't have the influence for a player to be signed. So no, I think that was probably the reason why we went for a coach that is young and up and coming rather than an experienced coach or a coach that has their own sort of way of doing work and also having their own sort of requirements, i.e. Amrin, who we just mentioned earlier on, wanting full control of the transfers. That doesn't happen a lot in this day and age, and FSG were definitely not on side with that one. So yeah, it's a frustrating time for Liverpool fans. You're asking me, are we a little too pressed for wanting numerous signings? As Liverpool fans, we're not asking for too much. There's 3 areas that I feel like really need strengthening because we don't have the profile in our squads. So the left-sided centre back / left back role, we don't have anyone. You know, you're an Arsenal fan. You've got Calafiori, who I really wanted. You've also got Timber, who can play that role. You've got Kiwior, who can play that role. Gabriel, who is predominantly a centre back. But if you're playing a back three, or if you needed a makeshift left back, he could slot there as well because he's left-footed. We don't have a left-footed centre back. Every club in the Premier League has a left-footed centre back, so that's a profile we don't have. And I feel like having that profile gives us a better balance, but it also allows us to play different shapes in different sort of transitions in the game. So if we need to revert to a back three, that left side centre back can end up becoming a wing back if required. So it can be perceived in different ways. So from a tactical point of view, we really needed a left-sided centre back. The number 6, we've been crying out for one for a few years now. Fabinho did his thing, but the signs were there that, you know, the legs weren't there anymore, and we just never acknowledged it. And shout out to Double D, he mentioned earlier on that he's concerned about the likes of Van Dijk, Trent, and Salah not extending their contracts. It's a big concern, because if these contracts are not being extended, do you expect the club to sign replacements straight away? Because we've got gaps in the squad right now that are not being addressed. And if they are not addressed now, no guarantee they'll be addressed in January or next summer. It's just the way FSG do business. They only do it when they really need to address it. And if we somehow lose all 3, which you can't rule it out, it seems a little bit impossible, because, you know, there's loyalty and there's players that have been here for a long time. So, you know, the love for the club should hopefully keep some of them on board, but you can't rule it out. All 3 of them can leave the club next summer. So it's a big concern, because if we're not signing players, I'm going to paint the worst scenario for us Liverpool fans. Let's say we're not signing anyone right now, but when it comes to January, these 3 players can negotiate, or they can have discussions with clubs outside of the country. They can do pre-contract agreements before the season ends. So that's the worst case scenario, and can't rule it out, unfortunately. So the club have a lot of work to do. Now, I know Richard Hughes has just joined and has just started his role, but the next 6 months to 12 months are huge for the club. If he doesn't bring in the right players in this month, and he doesn't get any of these contracts extended, he's out. You can't have someone incompetent like that. Imagine if we didn't extend the contracts and we didn't sign any new players. I'd say get him sacked now. But that's just how I feel, because right now he's not giving me a lot of confidence. He's not giving me anything to speak highly of him right now. He's not doing anything. He's messed up a deal where a release clause was in place, but he didn't pay for it. He didn't want to pay for that release clause. So, but in terms of what your comment here, I don't think we're pressed for signings. We haven't asked for a lot of signings. United are on the verge of signing 4 or 5 players. You guys have signed 2 or 3 players yourselves. We're just asking for the same. We're just asking for 2 or 3 players that need to be added to the squad. 2 or 3 players departed. So, logical speaking, would say that you replace what's left, right? So, if 2 or 3 players have left, it means you sign 2 or 3 players. So, right now, a lot of uncertainty in terms of how the club is moving forward. I'll give Richard Hughes the benefit of the doubt that we still have about 17 days until the end of the window. And a lot of people are saying FSG, they obviously have a role to play in terms of who they appoint. But I feel like for this deal in particular, let's not talk about anything else. This deal in particular, it's on Richard Hughes. He dropped the ball in this one. So I'm pointing the finger at him, because he definitely messed up on this one. Fozzie Wells says, oh yes, big up Fozzie as always. Steve says FSG out. I wouldn't clearly blame FSG on this one. But yes, obviously they've appointed these guys and they haven't lived up to the bill. So with the Richard Hughes appointment, I think that came from Michael Edwards. And maybe there was too much trust in him making that recruitment over sporting director, because he literally just hired his best mate to come down and do a job with him. So yeah, Richard Hughes has a lot to live up to. That's all I'm going to say. You FSG in or out? I'm more towards out. But I like the way they do business in terms of like making profit from selling young players. But for me, the most frustrating thing about FSG is they have no ambition whatsoever, and they've never capitalized when we're on a high. So when we won the league and the Champions League, so they don't act like owners that own a big club. They act like owners that are owning a small club that are trying to work their way around. We're big Liverpool. We shouldn't be doing like that. So no, I probably, if I had to choose, if you didn't want me to be on the fence, I'd probably say FSG out. But yeah, sign a few good players, there might be FSG in, but only joking. But yeah, FSG out is probably the tone that you're probably getting from me today. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. It's Arne Rodgers 2.0 by FSG. Do you know what is crazy about this? I was thinking about this the other day because when Brendan Rodgers joined, the reason we appointed him as well because he played that lovely football, but maybe Rodgers didn't have the players to play that system for a long time, or for that longevity as well, and we couldn't compete year in year out. We had that one year where unfortunately we missed out on the title, but that's probably down to Sturridge and Suarez being in spectacular form and probably helping us grind out results because of the way they were scoring their goals. I really hope Arne Slot isn't a Rodgers 2.0. But I did have that. I was thinking about that the other day. Just because it's like similar traits where they both have that sort of same attacking philosophy. They've been inspired by Spanish football. So yeah, I hope it is not the case. But with Arne Slot, I wouldn't really point the finger at him this year. I'm giving him time to embed his philosophy to the squad, to the players, and I think he deserves the time. As a manager, it takes time for you to get your imprint towards the squad, and then it's presented through your players. But it doesn't happen overnight. It does take time. For me, it's just a frustrating thing coming from our owners and the sporting director that we've not been able to negotiate any deals. We're the only club that hasn't even signed a player in the window. So it's quite frustrating. The Zubimendi deal definitely got a reaction from me, and I'm sure got a reaction from a lot of us Liverpool fans as well. So they've got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of making up to do because there's no inkling of a player being signed. And Zubimendi was an interesting profile. I feel like there's a lot of players that are to his level. So I mentioned earlier in the show, Alan Varela from Porto. He's that guy as well. I think he would be really good. Edison, I wouldn't mind him as well. One player that I really wanted, Yusuf Fofana, but it doesn't look like he'll be coming to the Premier League. Well, he could be. He's been linked to United and AC Milan. So I'm hoping things get done. But yeah, more hopeful than anything else right now. And then Stevie has also asked, do you believe Arne has a same player sold and signed? I think he's part of the dialogue, but I don't think he has the final decision or that influence in that decision. I don't think he does, to be honest with you. I think his main responsibility is to coach the team. That is his role. He will definitely give his input in terms of players going in and coming out, going out as well. But I don't think he has heavy influence. It's through Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, and their transfer committee that they have through their scouting network. So yeah, I don't think he does. But that's my opinion. I can't say that through any factual information. That's just the inkling that I get from what's happening so far in this window. I obviously did a 2.0 Caicedo drama on us to the fake deal. Our LFC fans, some are clowns. I'll be honest with you, Steve. I had no confidence in this deal getting done. Normally, when we're quite strongly linked with players, I always do a show. I always discuss the player. this one didn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel like it was going to be a deal that was going to go over the line. A lot of our fans celebrated very prematurely. We should have learned our lessons, especially the Caicedo deal you mentioned, the Lavia deal from last year. We can't celebrate until the guy's leaning on the wall and holding the shirt. That's when you've got to wait and really see for yourself that he's a Liverpool player now. But yeah, definitely got PTSD from last year, unfortunately. And I will do so until the club fix up and get things done properly. No need to like haggle to get deals done. Just trying to haggle on a release clause. Like, who does that? Absolute jokers. Steve says, can you give me one good reason why TAA VVD Salah should stay? At this current rate, no, I can't give them a good reason. Trent, I'd probably use the whole emotional play and say, you're a Scouser, this is your boyhood club, you're destined to be the captain of this club. And he's probably the only one that I thought would stay. But I don't know. I've got a gut feeling that I don't think he will. I don't think he'll sign that extension, unfortunately. And then with Van Dijk and Salah, they're coming at an age where their next move is quite vital in terms of their career and also the retirement plan as well. Let's be honest, because the football career is not very long for these players. So Van Dijk could easily go over to a Real Madrid or Barcelona. Like, he's that level of player where he can go anywhere. Or he could try a new adventure and go over to the Saudi Pro League. Same with Mohamed Salah. That Saudi Pro League move will happen one day, whether it's next year or the year after. It will happen. But at this stage, no. I can't. I don't think there's a good reason to even convince these guys. After the window, if we've signed 2-3 players and they're to a good level, then it shows that the club have ambition. The main word I've used today is ambition. We lack it from our owners. And unfortunately, going forward, it's not going to be helpful. We don't seem to have ambition as a club because of our owners, because of the reluctancy of investing in the squad. We're getting all these deals done. We're getting Carvalho for 20 million, this and that. Where is that money going? Because that needs to go into our squad now. Our squad is depleting right now. We haven't replaced players that have departed, and our quality has reduced. So how do you expect us to challenge for top four again? We don't have Jurgen Klopp now, so it's not like the cycle where we go again. It's a new coach, new ideas, new ways of playing. So we need to get used to that, because that's not going to just work overnight as well. Yes, we're seeing some great signs in pre-season. It's pre-season. It's there to gain fitness, to find your rhythm, and then find that sort of intensity in your play. That's what it's there for. It's not for anything else. If we're winning all our preseason games, doesn't mean we're going to do that throughout the season. Once the level of play is more competitive against better opposition, then we'll soon find out where we are as a team. But as of yet, I don't think we have the strength in depth. We have a first 11 and a bench that is of good quality, but surpass that, I don't think we have the level. And it's unfair to play young players and bring them in as well, like the Neonis and those players. Yes, they are talent for the future, but they're not going to come in, or they shouldn't come into the first team right now. It's unfair for them because they're still developing as young players. They're still learning the game, so they need to keep doing that at a lesser stage, i.e. playing for under 18s or the under 21s. That's the level where they can learn rather than being thrown in the limelight and play at the highest level. If they make a mistake, it can hamper their career as well. So yeah, in terms of your comment here, I don't have one at this stage, because the club isn't showing much ambition, and that is a big factor, of course. And as Steve said, what would you do if you was director of football or LFC to keep TAA, VVD, and Salah? So, as I mentioned in terms of Trent, obviously use the emotional play of saying you're a Scouser, you're going to be the captain, and this and that. Van Dijk, let him know he's our leader and he's the one that will captain the team in terms of the short term, but at the same time, he's the one that the players will look up to and keep the team together. And Salah as well. How would you convince Salah? to make is the main man. So obviously with Salah and Van Dijk, you've just got to show ambition that you really want to win trophies. If you're signing elite players, they're all with it. But if you're not, it happens. And obviously they were recruited by Jurgen Klopp, and he was a different character fish. So they felt the drive, they felt the passion when they spoke to him. I'm not saying Arne Slot doesn't have that sort of characteristics or he's not a charismatic individual, but he's a different type of manager. So I feel like for Jurgen Klopp, once you've sold onto what he says, you run through a brick wall. So can Arne Slot have that same impact? Remains to be seen. Only time will tell. Edwards, Hughes, Ward messed up 3 signings so far this summer. Euro, Pacho, Zubimendi deals. I didn't know we messed up the Pacho deal. The Euro, yep. But I just think we had a limit in terms of what we wanted to spend, and we just didn't want to surpass it. That one I can't understand. I just feel like United is the only team in world football that will just pay over the odds for any player. They always do it. So no guarantee that there will be a successful deal. Zubimendi one, yeah, dropped the ball, didn't pay the release clause, tried to negotiate. So unfortunately, that's what happened there. I think that's the same comment that's come up twice. Steve says, what's the point in making profit from selling players when that money ain't reinvested in the squad by FSG? My point exactly. That's the point I made earlier on. It's all good and well making this profit, but where is that money going to? It needs to go into the squad, not back to the kitty. So, yeah, frustrating. FSG are the only skint billionaires I know when it comes to squad investment at FC, but they invest $3 billion in the PGA franchise. FSG out. That's the way they operate, my friend. They use these sort of assets or these business ventures to make more money in order to increase their portfolio, and that's how it is. We're just one of many companies in their portfolio. That's a frustrating thing. That's why they're not owners that are really devoted to the sport or to the club's ambition. It's there's no proof of that. So we've won Premier League titles, Champions League titles, but they've never capitalized on those situations where teams in the past, like your United, they would always sign big players. Teams like Real Madrid, they just signed Mbappe, they signed Endrick, who could be the next big thing. They've always signed big players every year. Doesn't matter what the cost of those players are. They still spend. They still have to sign these players in order to show ambition. And also, when it comes to having a winning squad, you do kind of get sort of complacency at times. It does creep in certain players. So if you sign new quality players, it keeps everyone on their toes and they're motivated and they make sure that they're on top of their game in order for them to be in the starting lineup week in, week out. So it's all psychological, but I don't think they've gone that far to think about it in that way. Only fools believe that Zubimendi deal was happening. It was all FSG propaganda spin. Yeah, well, I wasn't a fool. I didn't think it was happening. So yeah, unfortunately, some of us did. It is what it is. Double D, Edison isn't really a DM though. Better box to box. I agree with you, Double D. That's why he wasn't one of my main targets. That's why I've gone for Varela. I think Varela is the one that we really need to go for. He's a DM and he can do whatever Zubimendi can do. But I feel like I think he's taller as well, so obviously add that physical presence. And he's very tenacious, very robust in how he plays, and he's got good passing range as well. So for me, that is the one, that is the player that I want us to sign. I think because from a tactical point of view, we play a double pivot. Edison wouldn't be a bad player to have in a double pivot. If it was a single pivot, no, that wouldn't work. He wouldn't be a DM. In that situation, if we were playing a 4-3-3 with a single pivot, it would probably be McAllister and then Edison as an 8 and then Szoboszlai or whoever as your 2 number 8s there. So he wouldn't be signed as a player for a single pivot. He would be signed in a double pivot alongside McAllister or whoever Armstrong wants to play in that system. Steve said Arne was told Carvalho had been sold. Arne was not asked if Carvalho was in his plans. I can kind of believe that, to be honest with you, because Arne Slot made the emphasis on Carvalho to focus and play on that left wing. Like, trust me, because Carvalho wanted to play as a number 10. He's like, no, you'll do a good job in left wing. This is what you got to do. And he had a good pre-season. So, yeah, I don't think he was told. I can believe that, to be honest with you, which is a little bit concerning. Because a lot of people asking me, is Arne Slot a yes man in terms of a coach? I don't think he's a yes man. He's just a coach. That's his job title. There's only so much power he has. So I wouldn't even point the finger on a Slot anytime soon. I think that's unfair on him. When FSG journalists, i.e. Joyce Ornstein, who are on FSG payroll, said AFC wants to win, I knew it was BS. Yeah, I think with any journalist, you always got to take a pinch of salt, whether it's Ornstein or Paul Joyce, always got to take it a pinch of salt. Even the Ornstein tweet that I mentioned earlier on, where he said that we won't be targeting a number 6. I think that's false information. I think we will be targeting a number 6. It's just that we're not saying it out loud in case other clubs want to bump up their price or, make those players unavailable just to, ensure that they don't lose their players as well at the same time. So it's all PR, unfortunately. But look, for me, I want players to be added to the squad, and it has to be done fast because season's already done before it's even started if we don't get new players this window, and that's just my opinion. Steve also commented saying, majority of our fans in the city of LFC have been turned into customers, and on social media, they are accountants. We don't talk about Liverpool winning trophies. It's all about net spend, and that frustrates me as well. We've all become accountants over the years, unfortunately, because that's what we've been programmed to do, and that's how we justify FSG spending because of their lack of ambition. If they were ambitious owners, we wouldn't have these discussions. And that's why you got teams like Man City, Man United, fan base that, they spend a lot of money. But Man City, probably forget Man United. Man City can say, well, look, we've won trophies. So it doesn't matter how much you spend. We've won trophies. The trophies that you're trying to win, we won it. So they've got ambitious owners. And I'm not asking the owners to spend big every summer. I want good players that fit the profile that we need. They can be 30, 40, 50 million players. The 50 million player now is what a player was 25 million like 10 years ago because the market has changed. It's inflated now. So there's players that aren't worth their value. And it is what it is. So you've got to roll with the times. You can't just, think that my 20 million remains 20 million 10 years on. It doesn't. Times change. You have to roll with it. You have to adapt and go what the market rate is saying. At this minute, a decent midfielder, a good midfielder goes for about 50 million. You got to pay up, but looks like we don't want to get the checkbook out. What's your thoughts on Edwards, Hughes, Ward sending off our kids and loaning them out? I'm going to do a Liverpool transfer talk show tomorrow, so I'll talk about that in more detail. But just to answer your question, it's a bit of a concern, if I'm being honest, because of the players that have been linked. So the likes of Bajtic has been linked for a loan move as well. Ben Doak possibly going out on loan or a permanent deal, which is a surprising one for me because he's shown a lot of promise. And then you've got Vandenberg, who just doesn't seem to be happy here. So that one makes a bit of sense. Carvalho was one. I just feel like he was just not good enough to play for the team. So that would make sense in terms of selling. So it just depends. So Bajtic and Doak, that's the one that I'm a bit confused about. And I don't agree with it. If you don't sign a DM, 100% Bajtic has to stay. And Ben Doak, I feel like having him as our 6th choice attacker would be great because he offers pace down the wings, which we lack. We don't have a lot of players that are that quick. So I think he'd be a fantastic option as a squad player next season. And he'll get a lot of game time in our cup competition. So I definitely wouldn't sell him. If you want to loan him out, I guess that's fine as well. But there shouldn't be a option to buy because I think that's what the current news is, that he is listed to go out on loan, but the club, whoever signs him, has the option to sign him permanently as well. So recently been linked to a move to Celtic. I don't know. I wouldn't sell him, but looks like Edwards and Hughes are moving different. Do you think Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Salah are waiting to see if FSG are going to buy quality players this month before they sign new deals? Potentially. I know they're probably having discussions right now, but yeah, that would definitely play a part. Where if we don't sign players, yeah, the club needs to show a bit of ambition for these guys to stay on. And if we're not signing any players, that equals no ambition. So yeah, that will definitely play a part. And they have every right to stall on any sort of further discussions or signing a contract. If I was them, I'd wait a bit as well. So it's only right that they do. Do you think FSG are streamlining LFC books by selling players, loaning them out, getting the club ready to sell so they can use this money to buy the NBA team? It could be the case, if I'm being honest, because that has been a discussion or a topic for a number of years, that they've always wanted to acquire an NBA team. And that's why they did the Nike deal as well. I think that was to help facilitate that as well. So it could be the case, because we're selling all these players, but we're not getting any signings from it as well. And even just to backtrack a little bit, the players that we signed last year, where did the money come for that as well? So it could be a balancing book exercise. And yeah, that's frustrating, especially when you've got owners that have too many hands in different pies. It's like they don't have a sole focus. They're just trying to make as much profit from different avenues. Yeah, I get it's business, but this is a sport club. This is a football club. This is something where people are very passionate about. It's 2 a.m. right now in the UK, and I'm talking to you guys for almost 3 hours, speaking about one topic. So when it comes to football, we eat, sleep, and drink football. We just love football. So they have to show that same sort of level of passion. And they don't have to be at the games or anything like that. I'm just saying they need to be ambitious. They need to invest in a squad to give the team, a chance to be successful. Right now, it's like we've got one hand behind our backs. You're not really supporting us. And we're handicapped right now. We don't have the full strength to do what we need to do in order to be successful. So, yeah, it's the same thing with FSU, unfortunately. Steve asks, do you think Edwards, Hughes, Ward have other targets after Zubimendi deal got binned by FSG? I got two answers. I've got an answer from my head and one from my heart. So my head is saying no. I think it's Zubimendi or nothing for these guys. But my heart is saying that I'm hoping that there are other targets lined up, because it can't just be Zubimendi or nothing. It has to be other targets. So Verla, Edison, that's to be in the names throughout the show today. They'd be fantastic additions to our squad. So I think if I have to make a prediction, I would. I don't know if I say prediction, because I don't feel like we'll sign anyone just from what's been gathered over the last few weeks. But I really hope that they are doing the groundwork to sign a number 6 now. But I need more. I need a centre back and I need an attacker as well. So if I had to choose an order, number 6, centre back, then attacker. 3 players. That's all I'm asking for. Steve says Barisic to join Real Sociedad on loan this month. Is that true, Steve? I hope they block that move, because obviously we didn't get Zubimendi. So why are we giving them one of our players? So I hope they block that move altogether. Our fan base is so gullible. They are crying in spaces on Twitter. I was crying in spaces, making me laugh. I haven't been on Twitter/X for a while. So yeah, crazy. People are crying. Yeah. You won't see me doing that, that's for sure. Steve said, what have FSG done with the Kaiser? Unpopular opinion, I think that was a PR move. I genuinely feel like that was a PR move. I feel like we were just trying to help the Brighton owner get a sale. I don't think we had the money to do that deal, but that's just my opinion. I don't think we have that kind of cash. Steve said, what's your thoughts if Man City signed Zubimendi this month. That would annoy the hell out of me if they signed Zubimendi. And you can't even rule it out, because that'd actually be a great signing for them. A backup for Rodri, which is an area they don't really have. He's done it for it. He was a backup for the national team for Rodri. Came on against England, and I want to say he helped get the win, but he certainly played a part because Rodri was a big part of that team. And I thought, England might have a chance if Rodri isn't available in the second half. Zubimendi came in, did his thing, did a great job. So if Man City want to replicate that and have it in club level, yeah, that's smart. That's a smart signing. So how would I feel? I'd be really, really annoyed, just to keep it PG there. If you was Arne, what position would you like the new signings in this month? So as I mentioned, number 6, a left-sided centre-back, so a left-footed centre-back that can play left-back, and a right winger. So understudy for Mohamed Salah. Also a player that can play left wing required, but predominantly right wing. So yeah, 3 areas, and I'll be happy. See, also asks if the Zubimendi deal had been done, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah signing deals within 48 hours. It would have been within 48 hours because I think even if we had signed Zubimendi, I don't think that's all that the club needs. I think we need 2 more, as I mentioned earlier on. The Zubimendi deal wouldn't have been enough for me or for these players to warrant a signature of new deals after 48 hours. That wouldn't happen. But it would definitely give them the spirit or the view that, do you know what? They're showing a bit of ambition. If Zubimendi just won the Euros, I'm liking the way the club are moving right now. But if they're not doing it, then no, they wouldn't, in my opinion. Zubimendi type player is the final piece in the midfield rebuild. In the midfield rebuild, yes, we need a number 6 that is good on the ball, but also has good defensive duties in terms of protecting the back 4 and can cover the fullbacks when they bomb forwards. So yeah, number 6, it's been a role that we've been trying to fix in the last few years. Obviously, Zubimendi was the one we identified that they'll never happen, and then since then we haven't been able to attain a number 6. I know we got Endo, but that was a stopgap signing because we fell short of signing Lavia or I should say Caicedo. So yeah, fingers crossed we do get a number 6 through the door. Steve also says, for me, FSG have never acted like owners of LFC in 14 on their watch. To me, FSG are only investors in LFC. Yes, fair point, to be honest with you. They don't show ambition. That's my main thing. They don't show ambition. They haven't put the money where their mouth is. So yeah, disappointing. When there were no shots, I would then judge FSG as Hughes would. That's what I've said as well. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that we still have just over a couple of weeks until the transfer window is closed, and then I'll assess the squad, and then I'm going to assess the league as well, and then I'll do a prediction show. I know a lot of content creators are doing it now. For me, it's a bit premature to do it now. I'd rather wait until the window closes, and then I'll do a thorough analysis of the Premier League, and I'll give you my prediction of how the league might end up. And this time, what should I say, in next May. So let's see. Caicedo was real. You have to show the money before the bid gets accepted by Brighton. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it came out of the blue, and it just felt too good to be true. I don't know. You're probably right, but I don't know. I don't trust these owners. We probably had the money to do that deal, but I feel like it was to help facilitate that deal because Chelsea didn't feel the pressure of improving their bid because they were lowballing the bid. They were like offering 70, 80 million. And I think we try to take that opportunity, but I think it's ended up helping Bryson more than anything else. So yeah, one that got away, I guess. But look how his career's panned out. He hasn't done anything great, so maybe one that's probably good that we missed out on. Another comment from Steve says FSG give a quality i.e. left back number 6 to Arne to win the title. Also give him a quality striker, wide attacker. We win the quad. Left back is definitely an area I feel like that needs to be addressed. But if it was a centre back that can play left back, then I feel like that player will end up being the left back. So then that addresses two positions. So you save money there, two for the price of one there. Number 6, 100%. A striker as well. I think they're going to give Nunes a chance, so that striker won't happen until next year. And a wide attacker, I agree. To win a quad, yeah, I'm not even thinking about quads. I can't even think that far ahead. My number 6 wish list. He said not in order. Wharton, Richard Rios, and Varela. So Richard Rios, I'm not too familiar with, so I'm gonna have to do a bit of research on him. Wharton, yeah, he looks a talent, but Palace won't sell him, and if they do want to sell him, it will be a huge fee, which I don't think the club will do. And plus, he's only just played a few months in the Premier League, so gotta let the kid play more football, and then let's see what the future holds for him. Steve said, "Why I purchased a Ferrari over 200k? They don't want to prove up funds before sale." Fair enough. And then Steve says, "Gordon to LFC is done weeks ago." If Gordon has signed, is that because someone's leaving? I.e., is that because Luis Diaz is leaving? If that's the case, I think, my opinion, I think that's a bit underwhelming. Gordon, decent winger. I still feel like his end product isn't quite there. He gets into great position. I remember that game we played against Newcastle last season. He was causing all kinds of havoc on that left wing. However, his end product wasn't there. So he's got areas of his games that he needs to improve. I would personally stick with Diaz rather than going for Gordon. But if you're saying the deal is done, it's an interesting one. Let's see if it becomes official. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around. Oh, got one more comment here from Steve. He says incoming offers for Gomez before winning those shots. I wouldn't want to sell him, but yeah, I kind of expected more interest in Gomez just because of the uncertainty in terms of his future, and he was strongly linked with a move to Newcastle. So I wouldn't sell him. I'd keep him. I think he's a valuable member of the squad. But yeah, let's see. We've got just over 2 weeks, so let's see how it pans out. Double D says Gakpo needs to start the season on the left. I agree, Double D. That is the position I've always said he should be playing on. Signing from PSV, played left wing. For the Netherlands, he played left wing. That's his natural position. That's what he knows how to play to the maximum. He knows how to be productive in that area. He can play false 9. He can play as a number 10. But you take elements of his game because he likes to drift to the channels when he plays in those central roles. So why not just start him in the left side? He's got great delivery as well, very intelligent on the ball. So for me, yeah, I agree. Gakpo should be starting on the left. But yeah, let's see, because in terms of outgoings, we might get some outgoings, unfortunately. So once we have a clearer picture of what the squad looks like, then we'll see. But yeah, Gakpo, I'm expecting him to have a good season as well. Steve says Gomez to Palace. Interesting there. If he goes there, he's probably coming to be Gay's replacement. Whether Gomez goes to Palace, I feel like, no disrespect to Palace, but I feel like he could go to a team like a Aston Villa where he plays Champions League football. I think he still is a quality player. But Palace is in South London. That is where Gomez is from. So maybe coming back home would help in terms of making that decision for him. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Steve said, Gakpo, Jota, Salah, my front three. Yeah, Jota for me 100% starts, and Salah obviously left for me, I'd probably get to Diaz, but I do like Gakpo on the left. So yeah. And your midfield three: Matt, Dom, Ryan. Matt, Dom, Ryan. Yeah, I'd probably. Yeah, as it stands, I'd probably say yes. Gordon wants to return to London home. Yeah, so that's my point. Yeah, he's from South London, so the move to Palace, if that is true, does make sense there. And Tia has to play right back only this season. Yeah, I think he should play right back. If we have low injuries, then yep, he could be an option for midfield. But I agree, right back is the role for Trent. That's where he's going to flourish. I want to see him being more of an attacking fullback, where he's bombing down the wing rather than inverting all the time. So, big season ahead. Big season ahead. But yes, that is it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of comments here. Oh, just got one more from Steve. He says Simicast should be number one left back. Well, finished 2 years ago. Yeah, do you know what? I think Simicast might actually get an opportunity to be first choice. He's going to start a few games. Then I feel like we'll make that assessment next summer if we need to get a proper left back, or Dreamland, if we do sign a centre back that can play left back, does he become the first choice left back? So yeah. Robertson, yeah, he looked in the preseason friendly, he looked off pace. And to play that left back role with that kind of energy, I don't think he has it. Could he be converting to a centre back? Not in a back four, in the back three, it could work, but not in a back four. So no. Unfortunately, I think he might leave next summer as well, if I had to make a prediction. But at this stage, it doesn't really have any importance to our new season coming up. And Kwanzaa to be Van Dijk partner. Yeah, I think I've said that in my watch alongs. I just feel like Kwanzaa is more composed on the ball and has a bit more composure in his overall play in comparison to Konate. So yeah, I think Kwanzaa will start as Van Dijk's partner, but he needs to maintain that level. Even the other day, he made a mistake. So these are things he needs to eradicate from his game. But yeah, he definitely has a big opportunity this season to become Van Dijk's partner in defense. And Steve also says Simicast has been on smoke preseason. Sell Robbo, sign Hatter from Ajax baller. I think the only one that I've heard that has mentioned the name that I want, and that's Hatter. Hatter is an unbelievable talent. That is my guy. That is the guy that I want Liverpool to sign. Can play left back, can play centre back. But when he plays left back, he's really like forward thinking as well. And he's got great pace, great ability on the ball. So yeah, that's the guy that I want as well. So I'm glad that you mentioned that name. Another comment, can see badly being used in midfield by Arne. Interesting. I don't feel like he has the skill set for that role, because I know in the last game he was inverting quite a bit. I wasn't very fond of that. So hopefully not too much. I don't think that suits his game. But yeah, we're interested to see how it goes. And Hato is Trent 2.0 regen. I don't think he's like Trent. I don't know who I would compare him to though. But I don't think that he's more pacey, more tap-minded. And he's got a shot on him as well. You can really hit the ball sweetly. So yeah. But Hato, that is the guy. That is the guy that I want at Liverpool. Patrick's gone PSG. Has he? All right. I don't know that. He went PSG. Okay. That's a good signing. So yeah, that's how much has he gone for? Let me have a look. PSG. Because he was linked for like 50, 60 million. You're right. He's just made his debut as well. Transfer fee. Let me have a look. See how much it costs. No way. They only paid 34 million for us. Why on earth were we linked to him for 50, 60 million? This is what I'm saying. They're trying to rip us off. He said, Steve said, hats are passing like Tia. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I feel like he's got a bit more zip in his passing, like more speed. He can really hit the ball with power. So yeah, Listen, he'd be a great signing. I really hope that's the one that they get. They get Hato. They're speaking my language because that's the kind of player I want in our team. But right now I'm in dreamland. That's the players I'm dreaming for. They shouldn't be players that I'm dreaming for because they're not unrealistic. They are realistic targets, but FSG are making it hard for us to get these players. So come on, FSG, let's get a move on. And WZ said peanuts. That is peanuts, man. I'm not gonna lie. That is dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. 34 million. That's our sweet spot as well, you know. Yeah, we dropped the ball on that one. Pacho deal Haji by PSG from LSE. So did we have a deal agreed for Pacho? Oh man. Crazy. Double said, what's going on with Julius Soler? So I read earlier that we were linked with him for around 12, 13 million. I haven't heard much since. So I'm doing a Liverpool transfer talk show tomorrow. So I'll be discussing him. He's one of the names that I've got listed. So I'll do my research, see what's happening with him. But yeah, he's definitely someone that is the right profile where, you know, he's up and coming, getting for like 12 million, bring him to the UK. You know, not too much pressure on him. He can take his time. We've got two left backs anyway, so he can take his time and get used to the way we play in England. And next season he'll be ready. That's a smart way of doing business. But do we do things smart? Not all the time. See, he says Lucas though, beast over the DM. Lucas though. I'm not familiar with Lucas though. Comment here from H. Big up yourself there. Diaz leaving? I bloody hope not. When I saw the rumor, I was just like, this is complete BS. I don't think there's any truth to it. The deal is 70 million with Man City. FSG would have to be really stupid to sell Diaz to our biggest rivals. But the concerning thing for me is that fans are like, not on board, but they don't mind Diaz being sold. That's mind-boggling for me. They probably don't want him to go City and into the, like how much they want him to go, but they don't mind him being sold to another club in order to facilitate a move for Gordon. Yeah, I'm not on that Gordon train. I know a lot of us Liverpool fans are. I'm not on that train. I don't buy the hype. I don't think he's that great. He's not an upgrade on Diaz. I'm not with that one, unfortunately. Lakeba Bees was saying about he'd be a good profile. He'd be a very good profile. He can play that left back role if required. More of a defensive point of view, but yeah, Lakeba would be good. He was one player that I think we were looking at last summer. He was actually signed to replace, I think, no, Red Bull Leipzig were trying to sign him. I think in replacement of Gvardiol. So yes, that is the player that they ended up getting. So yeah, Lukiba, so he was their replacement. So he was actually very close to joining Chelsea as well. So I was quite pleased that I didn't go there in the end. But yeah, so that was their Gvardiol replacement. So they're off to PSG. No way, really? Oh gosh. Okay, that's one off the list then, I guess. Pacho deal to join LFC. Hughes dragging his feet. PSG jumped in. Yeah, this. I don't like insulting people, but this Hughes just seems incompetent. Then that's another deal who flopped. Now you see where the problems are. It's not Honest Law. It's not FSG. Well, FSG are recruiting the wrong people, but the guy's not doing his job properly. Simple as that. Diaz needs to step up. The GA up, man. It's underwhelming. Yeah, that's something that I was saying in my watch along in the Sevilla game. You know, as good as he is, you know, he's easy on the eye and all that sort of stuff. The GA needs to improve. That's what's missing from his game. He's got everything in his locker, but he's got to be consistent with the goals and assists. So totally agree with you there, Double D. Steve says Lucas Gorm. I know him. Yes, I've heard him. He's a former Saint Etienne midfielder. He's at Red Bull Salzburg, right? Yeah, I am familiar with him. Yeah, why not? He's a young up and coming player. Bring him in. Don't need to put too much pressure on him. Come on now. FSG making Hughes look bad. Yeah, I guess, but I feel like he's fumbling these deals. It's not FSG. FSG probably like, look, here's your finance, go and get the deals done. And he's speaking to agents and he's liaising with players and he's in discussions to get these players signed. But he's messing up these deals. So it's Richards, Hughes. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say FSG out. I think it's Richard Hughes. I think he's not doing his job properly. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. Oh, yes. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around all 3 hours. Appreciate your time. Appreciate everyone getting involved, especially people in the live chat. Thank you to Chibuke, who actually came on as the first caller. Thank you for coming in. Great intake and comments from you. Appreciate you coming on. Richard Hutchinson, as always. Got Philip Bidwell, Trap Joe, Double D, Exito, Jamie Phillips, Football Chats, Fozzie's World, Steve, You Never Walk Alone, Madison Smith. Appreciate your comments tonight, guys. It's been a great show. I was expecting to just do like a quick 10-15 minute rant, but it ends up being a long conversation and an enjoyable one as well. Good to have this discussion. Good to get things off your chest as well. So yeah, it's good. It's good to have these discussions, and hopefully, get some business done. It's required. It's needed. So yeah, let's see how it goes. W says, "Big up, Rob. Big up yourself as always." Steve says, "Uncle Roz, Fozzie, Anton told me to jump into your channel. I appreciate the support there. Thank you, Steve, for coming on. Hopefully, you've had a good time today. Great engagement as always. So yeah, appreciate you coming on. I hope to see you on my upcoming shows. Yeah, we'll do lots of Liverpool content shows in the future. So yeah, appreciate you coming on. Steve says, great pod. You have good ball knowledge. Appreciate your lovely words there. Nice as always to hear that sort of stuff. So yeah, thank you for your comment. And that's it for today, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Fingers crossed we get some business done. And yeah, hopefully see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 p.m. Liverpool Transfer Talk Show. So yeah, speak to you all tomorrow. Goodbye.